Chapter 454. Woo-woo. A silver scorpion appeared on top of a boulder. Its body was huge. The sharp scorpion tail was a few feet tall. The tip of the tail emitted a cold light. Its entire body emitted a faint radiance. Its eyes were terrifying. Hello, a giant ape appeared. It stood upright like a tree. It was about 2 feet tall. Its entire body was emitting a red glow. It was dazzling in the dark night. The strange thing about this giant ape was that there was an arm-sized horn on its forehead. It emitted light and looked very ferocious. Low in the sky, there were 3 ferocious birds. Their size wasn't much smaller than the wolf-headed bat leader. One had a ferocious head. Its feathers were like blades. Its body was emitting a navy blue radiance. Its claws were like hooks. It was an iron-armored griffin. A ferocious bird that was covered in flames spread its wings. It was like a large cloud of fire was floating in the sky. Its eyes were fierce and sharp. It was a scarlet flame demon hawk. The last beast was the most peculiar. It was about 5 to 6 feet long. It looked like a dragon. There were 8 different parts on its back. There were no claws under its abdomen. Its entire body was emitting a black light. It was faintly discernible in the dark night. However, the ferocious eyes of that beast were the most terrifying. It was ferocious and ferocious. It opened its mouth and roared like a beast. It was an 8-winged demonic python. Its aura was very powerful. Its cultivation aura was not below the wolf-headed bat leader. 6 powerful demonic beasts' aura filled the air. Above the void, the wolf-headed bat leader's howl sounded one after another. Beside the wolf-headed bat leader, there were several demon spirit realm wolf-headed bat leader. Their aura wasn't weak either. The Xianyang golden demon falcon also joined in. Golden light filled the air. Its eyes were terrifying. Ewo, roar. In the dark night, the sky was overflowing with blood. The beast's roar was like thunder. It seemed to be responding to something. What should we do now? Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others' eyes were solemn. If it wasn't for the fact that they had been with Su Yi recently and had experienced the world, they would have been terrified and collapsed on the ground. Whoosh! From the cave behind them, a gray figure shot out and instantly appeared beside Sita Yang, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others. However, it did not raise a single speck of dust as it silently appeared. The person stood there quietly. He was dressed in the outer sect disciple uniform of Shunjin Gate. His gray robe couldn't hide his evil and arrogant temperament, and the broken heavy sword on his back was eye-catching. At this moment, a large saber appeared on the back of this figure. The saber and sword intersected. The figure stood tall and straight. His eyes were deep and his face was resolute. He immediately looked at the several huge beast shadows in front of him. At this moment, the person who came was Su Yi. There was no one else. Su Yi was in the middle of cultivating, so he was naturally alarmed by this commotion. Sensing the commotion outside, Su Yi specially took out a profound weapon-level broadsword from the mysterious space, just in case. Roar! Sir! Seeing Su Yi's figure appear, the wolf-headed bat leader and the Xianyang golden demonic falcon that were confronting each other in the air immediately circled down and landed respectfully behind Su Yi. Roar, roar. Many wolf-headed demonic bats of various sizes circled around Su Yi in the air. Swish, swish. The 6 powerful brute demon beasts in front also saw this strange scene. Their fierce gazes were like the edge of a sword, as if they could pierce through the void, and immediately landed on Su Yi's body to size him up. Looking at such a human youth, the 6 brute demon beasts seemed to be very surprised and puzzled. Their fierce eyes rippled. Sir, these are the 6 leaders of the nearby areas. They have long been eyeing the mystical spiritual fruit. For the mystical spiritual fruit, they have joined forces to fight with me. The wolf-headed bat leader informed Su Yi in beast language. These brute demon beasts were very powerful and were also the leaders of the nearby brute demon beasts. They had joined forces for the mystical spiritual fruit. Steel-armored griffin, scarlet flame demonic falcon, 8-winged demonic python, 2-headed demonic python, silver crystal poisonous scorpion, demonic flame diamond ape. He swept his gaze across them. Looks like these brute demon beasts were prepared. Among the 6 brute demon beasts, the 8-winged demonic python in the air had the strongest aura. It wasn't any weaker than the wolf-headed bat leader. Although the scarlet flame demonic python, demonic flame diamond ape, and silver crystal poisonous scorpion weren't as strong as the 8-winged demonic python, they were all at the 5th level of the demon spirit realm. Only the steel-armored griffin was slightly weaker, but it was also at the peak 4th level of the origin spirit realm. They're here for the mystical spiritual fruit? Su Yi's eyes slightly twitched. These 6 brute demon beasts had come prepared. They probably wouldn't give up until they obtained the mystical spiritual fruit. However, the mystical spiritual fruit was his. Bat, where's the mystical spiritual fruit tree? Where did it go? In the air, the 8-winged demonic python flapped its 8 wings. Its voice was deep and faint. Its gaze shifted away from Su Yi and asked the wolf-headed bat leader. The 8-winged demonic python's target was the mystical spiritual fruit. Calculating the time, the mystical spiritual fruit still needed a few more days to ripen. However, the 8-winged demonic python had sensed the shocking commotion during the day. It had come from the area that the bat was guarding. Therefore, it felt very uneasy and wanted to take a look. Joining forces with the other leaders of the nearby brute demon beasts, they were determined to obtain the mystical spiritual fruit. However, the 8-winged demonic python had never expected that when they arrived, the mystical spiritual fruit tree had disappeared. Square root most ls new t chapter / previous #q ouch. The mystical spiritual fruit tree has nothing to do with you. Old snake, scorpion, monkey, you'd better scram. Otherwise, I won't go easy on you. The wolf-headed bat leader roared in beast language. It knew that these fellows would not let the matter rest. All of them were coveting the mystical spiritual fruit and had joined forces to come. If you don't hand over the mystical spiritual fruit, then let's see who's the one who won't go easy on you. Today, I'm afraid that there won't be many of you left. Let's see if you'll hand over the mystical spiritual fruit. The demonic flame diamond ape stomped its feet. Its roar shook the night sky like muffled thunder. Its aura was very shocking. It was obviously warning the wolf-headed bat. Monkey, don't be so arrogant. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so. The wolf-headed bat roared angrily. Its murderous aura surged and shook the surroundings. Do they also have sword pattern stones on them? Su Yi spoke, but he turned around and asked the wolf-headed bat leader. My lord, monkey, scorpion, and old snake should have quite a number of sword pattern stones on them. In their lairs, there are also spiritual herbs and other treasures. However, they're not as good as the mystical spiritual fruit. Therefore, they joined forces to come and snatch the mystical spiritual fruit. The wolf-headed bat leader replied to Su Yi. Sword pattern stones, spiritual herbs, and treasures. Su Yi's gaze suddenly changed. His eyes flickered as he looked at the steel-armored griffin, scarlet flame demonic eagle, 8-winged demonic python, 2-headed demonic mantis, silver crystal poisonous scorpion, and demonic flame diamond ape. He said, hand over the sword pattern stones and the spiritual herbs and treasures in your lairs. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Su Yi's voice was very calm. However, it spread faintly and landed in the ears of the 8-winged demonic python, 2-headed demonic mantis, and other experts. Chapter 455. Don't tell me that this fellow wants to fight against 6 ferocious barbaric demon beasts by himself. The 2-headed demonic python, the 8-winged demonic python, and the rest of the beasts fixed their gazes on Su Yi. 6 pairs of ferocious eyes, like blood moons, looked down at Su Yi with surprise and doubt. Human, are you talking to us? The demonic flame diamond ape took a few steps forward and stared at Su Yi with its thunderous voice. That's right, I'm talking to you guys. Su Yi said calmly and nodded seriously. He didn't seem to be joking at all. Human, you can understand the language of beasts. The tail of the silver crystal poisonous scorpion swayed like a sharp arrow. Its eyes were cold and ferocious. Anyone who looked at it couldn't help but feel fear. That's not important. Hand over the sword-patterned stone. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Su-yi replied. The 6 brute demon beast leaders were completely stunned. 6 pairs of ferocious eyes stared at Su-yi like blood-red moons in the moonlight. Their eyes flickered with astonishment, as if they were trying to confirm if they had heard wrongly. This human youth was actually threatening them. Little human, you're courting death. The silver crystal poisonous scorpion seemed to be the first to confirm. Its beastly voice reverberated in the air. Wisps of black fog lingered around its huge silver body. The smell was pungent and unpleasant. Be careful, there's poison in its breath. Don't let the poison enter your body. Otherwise, your body will go limp and your soul will be injured. Situ Muyang reminded the people around him. He circulated his energy to block the black fog that was spreading over. It was a type of poisonous gas and was very strange. Zhang Qing, Su Jiahui, Lu Ji, and the others' faces changed. They immediately circulated their energy to defend themselves. They didn't dare to be careless. It's a pity that it's poisonous. I don't dare to eat you. Su-yi looked at the silver crystal scorpion with a regretful expression. Ever since he arrived at the Xinjiang gate, he hadn't had the chance to have a good meal. Thinking about it made him feel a little hungry. Unfortunately, the silver crystal scorpion's entire body was poisonous, so he naturally didn't dare to eat it. Su-yi's gaze swept across the 6 barbarian beasts. The silver crystal poisonous scorpion didn't dare to eat it. Looking at the demonic flame diamond ape, Su-yi could only shake his head and said with a hint of regret, I can't eat a big monkey like you. When he saw the steel-armored griffin, the scarlet flamed demon eagle, the 8-winged demon python, and the 2-headed demon python, Su-yi's eyes finally revealed a satisfied expression. He licked his lips and said, just as well. There are bird wings, snake meat, and large bones to chew on. This is not bad. If you don't hand over the sword-patterned stone and elixir treasures, I'll let you guys eat the meat first. Su-yi's faint voice was unbridled. He didn't try to hide anything. He didn't put the 6 barbarian beasts in his eyes at all. The steel-armored griffin, the scarlet-flamed demon eagle, the 8-winged demon python, the 2-headed demon python, the silver crystal poisonous scorpion, and the demonic flame diamond ape looked at each other in dismay. Awoo! Roar! Most! New chapter, RH Upper CO. Immediately after, 6 powerful auras burst out. The roars of the 6 barbarian beasts pierced through the clouds. Awoo! The leader of the wolf-head demonic bat and the other demon spirit realm wolf-head demonic bats didn't want to be outdone. They roared and moved, causing the mountains and valleys to tremble. Awoo! The surrounding wolf-headed demonic bats also began to howl, as if they were howling at the moon, causing the entire ancient world to tremble. Pairs of blood-red eyes flickered in the void, like red, ghostly flames spreading out in all directions. To the 2-headed demon python, the 8-winged demon python, and the rest of the 5 demon spirit realm barbarian beasts, a puny human actually didn't put them in his eyes and even wanted to eat them. How could they accept this? What are you roaring for? Hand over the sword vein stone and elixirs, or I'll roast you guys. Su-yi raised his eyebrows. These are demon spirit realm barbarian beasts. If you were to eat them, they should taste pretty good, and he should be able to get a lot of benefits. This guy is too arrogant. Sita Muyang smacked his lips. He's never been afraid of anything. Even when he entered the myriad sword battlefield, he wasn't afraid at all. He was determined to compete with the elites among the direct disciples of the Xinjiang Gate. But ever since he came in contact with Su-yi, Sita Muyang had to reevaluate himself. Su-yi is the one who's truly fearless and arrogant. Not only was he not afraid of the 8-winged demon python, he even threatened to roast them. Who would dare to do something like that? Whoa! The 8-winged demon python roared. Its entire body was covered in black light, faintly discernible in the dark night. Its ferocious eyes were ferocious and ferocious. It opened its bloody mouth and roared like a beast, carrying a trace of majesty. Gee! The steel-armored griffin's feathers were as sharp as blades. Its claws were as sharp as hooks. Coo! The scarlet-flamed demon eagle's cry pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks. Its wings were like clouds of fire floating in the sky. Its eyes were ferocious and sharp. Illo! The demon flame diamond ape roared towards the sky. Its voice was as loud as thunder, causing everyone's heart to palpitate. It stomped its feet on the ground, causing dust to fly and rocks to shatter. Human, do you know who you're talking to? The demon flame diamond ape glared at Su Yi and roared. Its scarlet fur stood up, emitting a scarlet light. Its eyes were filled with ferocious light. It's just a slightly bigger monkey. It's a pity that I can't eat you. However, the horn on your head should be pretty good. If I pluck it out and sell it to a refiner, I should be able to get a good price. Su, he didn't mind. He stared at the horn on the demon flame diamond ape's forehead. That horn should be pretty good. It was a special part of some barbaric beasts. It was a good material for refining. Little human, you're courting death. The demon flame diamond ape was too angry. This human didn't care about it and didn't put in his eyes at all. He even wanted to pluck its horn. Boom! In an instant, the demon flame diamond ape pounced. This little human not only didn't put it in his eyes, he actually wanted to eat it. Moreover, he disliked its appearance and wanted to pluck its horn. How could not be angry? The demon flame diamond ape's huge body was like a moving mountain. The ground cracked, and its aura was ferocious. Its body was suffused with scarlet light. The scarlet fur on its huge body rose and fell. It opened its mouth ferociously, revealing snow-white fangs that emitted a cold light. Under such a ferocious aura, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others trembled. They knew that they were powerless to resist. However, although Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and even Sita Muyang were shocked, they weren't too worried about Sui. At least with Su Yi's strength, this demon flame diamond ape wouldn't be able to take advantage of him. Evil creature, do you think you're the only one who knows how to stomp? Chapter 456. Boom! In an instant, the black energy around Su Yi's body was activated with a loud bang, and he suddenly stepped out in the direction of the demon flame diamond ape. As Su Yi's foot landed, the energy vortex under his foot swept out like a storm. Boom! At this moment, where Su Yi's foot landed, the ground trembled, and the air rumbled for no reason. Circles of black earth attribute energy swept out from under Su Yi's foot like a wave. Crack, crack. Cracks as thick as an arm could be seen spreading in all directions like a spider web. Rocks crumbled, and sand and pebbles flew. Accompanied by a mighty and overbearing aura, they swept toward the demonic flame diamond ape that was charging at them. Illo! At this moment, for some reason, the eyes of the demon flame diamond ape that was pouncing out trembled, and it could not help but roar. Everything was as fast as lightning. A great impact swept up from the ground and spread out, directly hitting the demon flame diamond ape's body. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out from the demon flame diamond ape's bloody mouth. Its snow-white fangs were dyed scarlet, and the ground around its huge foot constantly cracked. At the same time, the demon flame diamond ape's ferocious expression changed drastically. As it staggered back, its eyes looked at Su Yi with shock. That terrifying aura caused fear and reverence to surge out from the depths of the demon flame diamond ape's heart, as if it wanted to worship him. How could such an aura appear on a human's body? Chila. His figure seemed to have dragged out a series of afterimages. Su Yi had just used the first move of 8 Desolation Fury. Knowing that the suppression of 8 Desolation Fury on barbarian beasts was huge, Su Yi did not let it go at this moment. Without any delay, his figure instantly pounced forward again. Boom! Everything happened very quickly. Su Yi's figure arrived in an instant. His 5 fingers clenched into a fist, and with a shake of his arm, his long gray sleeves fluttered. The light on his fist shone brightly, and a terrifying yuan qi power, like an erupting volcano, instantly shot out. The demonic flame diamond ape was, after all, a 5th-level demon spirit realm barbaric beast. In its panic, it subconsciously stretched out its arm and threw a punch. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the 2 fists, one big and one small, collided in an extremely uncoordinated manner. Rumble! But in the next instant, Su Yi's fist seemed to swell up, accompanied by the clear sound of wind and thunder. It rumbled like thunder, bringing with it a huge pressure that spread out as if an overlord had awakened and an emperor had descended. This kind of pressure made the hearts of the two-headed demonic centipede, the eight-winged demonic python, and the silver crystal poisonous scorpion palpitate. They trembled with fear, and their beast souls trembled as they were suppressed for no reason. Boom! The strong wind formed into a shock wave that shot out like a hurricane, spreading out in a circular shape. Boom! 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 The powerful shock wave swept out, and the demonic flame diamond ape's body was sent flying. Blood poured out from its mouth like a rain of blood as it smashed onto the ground. Boom! The demonic flame diamond ape's body smashed onto the ground, causing cracks to appear on the ground. The fist just now was dripping with blood, and its thick flesh armor was also broken. Its flesh was badly mutilated, and blood was flowing out from its wound. Gee! Su Yi's figure was like a shadow as he stepped on the head of the demonic flame diamond ape that had fallen to the ground. His hands tightly gripped the horn that was flickering with scarlet light. Break for me! With a loud roar, Su Yi had the strength to uproot mountains and rivers. Crack! 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 The demonic flame diamond ape's horn cracked, and it was pulled out by the roots. PFFF! Roar! Roar! Blood-curdling screams shook the night sky. Blood spurted out from the demonic flame diamond ape's forehead like a fountain. The demonic flame diamond ape's fierce eyes had been replaced by shock. It was constantly twisting and struggling in pain. Its head was in a daze, and it was about to faint. The horn on its forehead had already been forcefully pulled out by Su Yi. All of this happened too quickly, almost in a chain of time. Everything was out of everyone's expectations, so the eight-winged demonic python and the others did not come back to their senses. But soon, the scarlet flame demonic eagle, iron-armored griffin, and the others came back to their senses. The hair and scales on their bodies stood up, and their bodies surged with light. Their aura was astonishing, and they glared angrily. Woo! Woo! This human is not ordinary. Let's attack together. The eight-winged demonic python roared and ordered the iron-armored griffin, scarlet flame demonic eagle, and the others to attack together. The eight-winged demonic python flapped its 8 wings, and the black light was terrifying. Its huge body took the lead to pounce on Su Yi. It realized that in its eyes, this human youth had the capital to be arrogant and was not easy to deal with. Old snake, don't be arrogant. The wolf-headed demonic bat moved. It spread its wings and roared ferociously. Blood-colored mist spread out from its body, covering the surrounding void. It was like a monstrous wave, with an aura that could topple mountains and overturn seas. It blocked the 8-winged demonic python's path. Illo, look at the real version. Chapter E, Section 1, Uncool E, Craftsman, the two-headed demonic python, silver crystal poisonous scorpion, scarlet flame demonic eagle, and iron-armored griffin, the 4 fierce barbaric demonic beasts, moved together at this moment. Their roars shook the sky, and their auras soared into the sky. They pounced on Su Yi. The 4 auras swept out together, and the earth shook. The battle formation was terrifying. Gee! Su Yi's eyes moved, and the soles of his feet touched the ground and quickly retreated. At the same time, the yuan qi from the soles of his feet swept out, and a red light rose behind his back. The yuan qi wings condensed, and he directly soared into the sky. They did not expect the young man in front of them to be able to soar into the sky. The silver crystal poisonous scorpion and the two-headed demonic python's attacks missed, and they almost collided with each other. Gee! The iron-armored griffin soared through the sky, and its blade-like wings seemed to be cast from steel. It was incomparably sharp, and it swept over, wanting to cut Su Yi into 2 halves. Wong! The yuan qi wings behind Su Yi's back filled the cave with a red light, and the sound of a golden spear resounded. The large blade on his back was unsheathed. Su Yi activated the blade technique in his hand, and the yuan qi in his body surged, gathering and flowing in his special meridians, and finally gathering on the large blade. Wong. In an instant, the large blade seemed to resonate with the faint roar of a dragon, like wind and thunder. The blade light was resplendent, and with an incomparably ferocious posture, it directly stood down. The blade was like a wild dragon, and the momentum was like a fierce tiger. This was the first blade of the wild dragon's 3 blades, Furious Dragon Slash. Chi-La. The blade light was resplendent, and a terrifying aura erupted. It immediately collided with the blade-like wings of the iron-armored griffin. Ka-ka! The golden spear exploded, and sparks flew in all directions. With a kacha sound, the blade-like wings of the iron-armored griffin were filled with flames, and then they directly cracked and shattered. Chi-La! The blade light was resplendent, and in the shocked eyes of the iron-armored griffin, there were blade-like scales of feathers falling down. A mist of blood poured out, and it suddenly lost its balance, and its huge body fell down. Ku! The red-flamed demonic eagle pounced. It was already in front of Su-Yi. Its body was like raging flames, and its eyes were sharp, murderous, and its claws were like hooks, wanting to tear Su-Yi into 2 halves. Evil creature. Its physical body was extremely terrifying, and its terrifying aura was like a mountain torrent, shocking everyone. It pounced towards Su-Yi. Su-Yi's black hair fluttered in the wind as he flapped his wings. He seemed to have been prepared since long ago as he swooped down like a ferocious bird spreading its wings. His aura was terrifying and intimidating. At the same time, the large saber in Su-Yi's hand danced at the same time. There was a kind of speed amidst the ferocity, as if it was drawing lines of varying depths in the air. The saber was like a fierce tiger, and the momentum was like a violent dragon. Buzz, buzz. In an instant, Su-Yi waved the large saber in his hand, as if it was accompanied by blade light and sword shadows. The sonorous sound of wind and thunder resounded, like the roar of dragons and tigers. It revealed a majestic aura like 10,000 horses galloping. Waves of crimson fire attribute yuan energy gushed out, instantly going berserk. In an instant, from the void around Su-Yi, there were traces of fire attribute energy that seemed to have materialized. They spread out from the void and instantly twined around the large saber. A blazing storm emerged, and the energy swept out in all directions, as if a small blazing storm had spread out around Su-Yi's body. A violent and sharp aura emerged from it, causing the surrounding air to begin to distort. The large saber in Su-Yi's hand was also covered with a layer of crimson light, as if flames were about to spread out, and there was magma flowing on the tip of the saber. Violent Dragon Overlord Slash. In a flash, Su-Yi slashed out with his saber. The crimson light on the large saber was like a volcanic eruption, suddenly erupting. A crimson aura swept out, covering the sky and the earth. A ray of saber light, like a long crimson thunderbolt, shot out explosively. At this moment, the blood-red eyes of the wolf-headed demonic bat, which was not far away, were also shocked. The ferocious eyes of the 2-headed demonic mantis, which soared into the sky, were also completely covered by the crimson saber light that covered the sky and the earth. The vast and incomparably fierce and domineering aura swept out, causing its beast soul to tremble in fear. Roar! There seemed to be a faint shadow of a crimson dragon in the saber light, causing the ground below to crack inch by inch. The cracks exploded, and huge rocks turned into fine powder. There were towering trees that were broken, and a terrifying aura shook the night sky. Roar! The 2-headed demonic mantis screamed, and its roar was earth-shattering. A stream of crimson beast blood splashed out from the low altitude. One of the ferocious heads of the 2-headed demonic mantis was directly chopped off. Blood gushed out, and the 2-headed demonic mantis howled in pain as its body fell from the low altitude. Gugu, far away, Situ Myong, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the rest, although they knew that Su Yi was ferocious, they were still flabbergasted and sucked in a breath of cold air. In the blink of an eye, 5 barbarian beasts at the 4th and 5th level of the demon spirit realm were defeated so easily. At this moment, Situ Muyang finally knew that Su Yi had used all of his strength in the battle with the wolf-headed demonic bat leader. However, he did not use any of his killing moves. Judging from Su Yi's moves, those were the killing moves. The Xinyang Golden Demon Falcon was the least surprised. It knew that these barbarian beast leaders weren't a match for its lord. Just the terrifying aura of its lord was enough to suppress the 2-headed demonic mantis, the 8-winged demonic python, and the rest. Today, the 8-winged demonic python was destined to suffer. Rumble. After chopping off one of the 2-headed demonic mantis's heads, Su Yi didn't stop. He flapped his wings, and a scarlet light spread out, bringing along a gust of wind. Sand and pebbles were sent flying as his aura surged. He charged towards the steel-armored griffin, which had just stabilized its body. The steel-armored griffin was completely terrified. It had no way of retreating, so went all out. Its blade-like feathers stood upright, emitting a dazzling light as it charged towards Su Yi. Whoosh! Su Yi's figure flashed across the sky. He flapped his wings in a mysterious arc as he soared into the sky. The saber in his hand was resplendent as it slashed down once again. Crackle! Scarlet light erupted from his blade. The radiance flashed past like lightning, and the golden spear exploded. Sparks flew in all directions. Ding-dang, ding-dang. Sounds rang out continuously as a bloody mist sprayed down from the sky. Gugu, the steel-armored griffin, let out a miserable shriek. Its left wing was severed, and only a tendon remained. It could no longer fly. In the bloody mist, the huge body of the steel-armored griffin fell straight to the ground. The silver crystal venomous scorpion wasn't willing to give up. Its eyes were filled with fear and resentment. It raised its head and spat out a black light. It was like a huge black cloud that swept across the sky, trying to envelop Su Yi. This was a poisonous mist that was highly toxic. Anyone who came into contact with it would be unlucky. Chapter 458. If it was anyone else, they would have been enveloped by the poisonous gas under such influence. But the Tian Yuan demon soul, in Su Yi's mind, did not seem to be afraid and was not affected at all. It spread its wings, releasing a blast of air that dispersed the poisonous gas. The remaining scattered black poisonous gas was blocked outside by the Yuan Qi light shield. Boom! A terrifying aura erupted. The dazzling light in Su Yi's eyes suddenly flashed like lightning. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his aura seemed to carry the fury of thunder. A dark black Yuan Qi was activated under his right foot, and like a falling meteorite, he suddenly stepped down towards the silver crystal scorpion below. At this moment, a Yuan Qi vortex rushed out from under Su Yi's foot. Circles of black earth attribute Yuan Qi energy swept out from under his foot like a storm. Boom! Under his foot, the earth trembled, and the air roared for no reason. Woo-woo! Under such a terrifying aura, the silver crystal scorpion's eyes trembled, and it could not help but growl. It was suppressed. Boom! Su Yi's foot struck down, and the silver crystal scorpion was pressed to the ground. Ka-ka! Suddenly, with the body of the silver crystal scorpion as the center, cracks as thick as an arm on the ground spread out like a spider web. The surrounding rocks collapsed, and sand and pebbles flew. Puff! A painful groan came from the mouth of the silver crystal scorpion, and its body sank into a deep pit in the ground. Its eyes were filled with horror, and its mouth spewed out large mouthfuls of blood. The back of the silver crystal scorpion was also covered in blood. It was a tragic sight, and its aura was on the verge of death. The scarlet flame eagle that had once again pounced over wanted to attack with all its strength. But when it saw the fate of the griffin and the silver crystal scorpion, it flapped its wings and stopped its body. Its flame-like eyes were filled with horror, and without hesitation, it retreated. Evil beast, where do you think you're going? Su Yi rose into the air, and the Yuan Qi wings on his back flapped. He chased after the scarlet flame eagle, and his speed seemed to be even faster than the scarlet flame eagle. Wong! The blade light broke through the air like lightning. Gee! In the air, the crimson flame eagle let out a blood-curdling screech. The sound pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks. The flames on its body soared into the sky. Its right wing had been sliced in half, and blood flowed like a torrential rain. Its body was on the verge of collapse. Bastard! Su Yi's figure appeared and landed directly on the back of the scarlet flame, demonic eagle. Saber light swept out. Chila! Blood gushed out like a fountain. The scarlet flame eagle's right wing had been completely severed. It let out a miserable shriek as its body slammed into the ground. Dust flew into the air, and the earth cracked. Oh, screams and howls of agony could be heard all around the mountain. Everything happened very quickly. The silver crystal poisonous scorpion, the iron-armored griffin, the demon flame diamond ape, the scarlet flame demon hawk, and the two-headed demon centipede were all lying on the ground. The 5 ferocious barbaric demonic beasts were roaring and struggling. They were in a terrible state and no longer had the strength to fight. Woo-woo! Roar! In midair, the fierce battle between the wolf-headed bat commander and the 8-winged demon python is equally astonishing. Of the 2 beast shadows, one was dark and deep, and the smell of blood filled the air. The other was bloody and fiendish, and the dark red light spread across the night sky. The 2 beast shadows fought fiercely, and waves of terrifying Yuan Qi power erupted like volcanoes. Su Yi was in the air, and the Yuan Qi wings on his back emitted a red light. He floated in the air and looked at the wolf-headed bat commander and the 8-winged demon python fighting fiercely in front of him. His eyes rippled with red light, and then he lifted his saber and flapped his wings. The wolf-headed bat commander and the 8-winged demon python had already exchanged more than 10 moves. The wolf-headed bat commander knew that all of this was led by the 8-winged demon python, and it wanted to get its hands on the Xianling tree. Look at the V chapter, section √U8. Although the Xianling tree no longer belongs to the wolf-headed bat commander, the 8-winged demon python's actions still angered it, and it was unwilling to let it go. Roar! The wolf-headed bat commander roared angrily. Suddenly, a bloody mist spread out from its body and covered a large area of the void in an instant. Woo-woo! The blood-colored light was like a blood-colored fog. The light was frightening, and the aura was terrifying. From within it, one could faintly hear the cries of ghosts and howls of gods. This was the wolf-headed demonic bat's unique skill, blood fiend bewilderment. Roar! The bloody mist rolled like a wave, and the howl of the wolf shook the sky. Along with the surging blood fiend Qi, it swept towards the 8-winged demon python with earth-shattering momentum. The blood fiend Qi could drown everything. It could devour life and affect the soul. The 8-winged demon python saw the blood fiend Qi rolling towards it, and its eyes became serious. It flapped its 8 wings, and a black light burst out from its body, as if there were runes flickering all over its body. The terrifying aura caused the surrounding void to resonate, and the forest below also trembled. Woo-woo! The 8-winged demon python collided with the blood fiend Qi, and its 8 wings flapped, bringing with it a powerful aura. It was like a black sun, and it charged forward. Rumble! The 2 huge figures collided with the blood fiend Qi and the black light, and in an instant, a rumbling sound could be heard. The blood fiend Qi and the black Qi swept out, and the muffled sound was like thunder. Poochie! Roar! The roar of the beast shook the sky, and the 2 huge figures simultaneously retreated. There were bloodstains in their ferocious mouths, and the strong wind swept out like a hurricane. Su Yi's figure appeared on the side of the retreating 8-winged demon python, and he spread his wings and soared into the sky. He poured the blood fiend Qi into the blood fiend Qi and activated the blood fiend Qi. The blood fiend chi was accompanied by a trace of the blood fiend chi. The blood fiend chi pervaded the surrounding void, and it instantly wrapped around the blood fiend chi. A blazing storm emerged, and the energy swept out in all directions. Boom! Suddenly, Su Yi's body spread out into a small, blazing storm, and a violent and sharp power emerged from it. The blood fiend chi in his hand was also covered with a layer of red brilliance, as if a flame was about to pervade out, and there was lava flowing on the tip of the blood fiend chi. Wild Dragon Overlord Chop. Once again using the Wild Dragon Overlord Chop, Su Yi's blood fiend chi fiercely chopped down, and the blood fiend chi burst out like a long red thunderbolt. On the blood fiend chi gushed out like a volcano, and there seemed to be a blood fiend chi looming. The violent and sharp power exploded, and it seemed to be able to cut the void. Woo woo, the eight-winged demon python roared. It didn't gain the upper hand in the blood fiend chi's blood fiend chi. At this moment, the blood fiend chi's blood fiend chi frightened it. In a panic, the eight-winged demon python couldn't avoid it. Its huge tail swept horizontally, and the black light burst out and swept towards Su Yi fiercely. Swish, the blood fiend chi fell, and with a swish sound, the eight-winged demon python screamed, and its back was severely injured. Although it avoided the vital parts, a piece of flesh of dozens of pounds was directly cut off from its back, and it fell to the ground together with the blood fiend chi. Chapter 459. Su Yi snorted coldly. Facing such an attack, he remained motionless. He spread his wings and circled his body. He stretched out his left hand. Red light filled the air and turned into an invisible handprint. His yuan chi leaked out and blocked the giant tail in an instant. Swish, the huge force collapsed. Su Yi's body was pushed back in the low altitude. The yuan chi wings on his back burst out red light and stopped his retreat. At the same time, the yuan chi claw in his hand tightly grasped the giant snake tail. Boom! The yuan chi in his body spread and rushed in his meridians. A mighty aura burst out. Su Yi imprisoned the eight-winged demonic python's giant tail with great force. His body fell down and pulled down the eight-winged demonic python's giant tail. Come down! With a loud shout, Su Yi stomped on the ground. With one hand, he swung the giant tail with great force. Crack, crack! With a strong pull, Su Yi's foot suddenly cracked the ground. The scene was terrifying. The aura was fierce and powerful. Swish! The pitiful eight-winged demonic python's body suddenly fell down. It was forcefully pulled down by Su Yi. Finally, it fell to the ground with a loud bang. Bang, bang! The eight-winged demonic python's body was smashed until blood flowed out. Its body twitched and spat out blood. Its 8 wings were broken. Swish! Dust flew around. Large cracks spread out on the ground. The ferocious eyes of the wolf-headed demonic bats widened in shock. Sita Muyang, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and Lu Ji were also dumbfounded, as if they had been petrified. So many powerful barbaric beasts joined forces, but in the end, they ended up like this. The strongest 8-winged demon python still fell to the ground like a small snake. This was too powerful and ferocious. Compared to Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others who were already numb, Sita Muyang was even more shocked. Originally, Sita Muyang didn't believe that Su Yi could deal with so many ferocious beasts by himself. Only now did he realize that he was overthinking things. Su Yi's terror had exceeded his expectations time and time again. He was even more ferocious than he had imagined. Sita Muyang's eyes lit up, and he frowned slightly. Looking at the fierce figure of the young man, he became even more serious about the outcome of going out to fight him. Woo-woo! The 8-winged demonic python struggled and roared. Its physical body was powerful, but at this moment, it had suffered such serious injuries and was being ravaged in such a manner. The 8-winged demonic python's entire body was in severe pain. It wanted to struggle to get up, but it was of no use. Its 8 wings were damaged and stained with blood. It was a tragic sight. Can you hand over the sword vein stone and the treasures now? Su, he asked as he looked at the beasts lying on the ground. The outcome had already been decided. The ferocious beasts were aggressive and ferocious when they came. Now, they were all frightened. They had no other choice. However, the sword Veinstone and the treasures were not with the two-headed demonic python and the eight-winged demonic python. They were all in their lairs. Go back and get it yourselves. If you don't bring it back in 4 hours, I will go to your lairs. At that time, I will pull out your tendons and skin you alive. Su, he scolded and asked the beast to go back and get the sword Veinstone and the treasures themselves. Anyway, they were in the battlefield of myriad swords. He wasn't afraid that the beasts would run away. The beasts left in a miserable state. Each of them was covered in blood. Some of them were missing wings or horns. They were in a sorry state. Situ Miang, Su Jiahui, Lu Ji, and the others were all shocked. 6 ferocious beasts left in such a miserable state in the end. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, come over and help. Su, he said from afar. He picked up the scarlet flame demonic eagle's wings and a large piece of meat from the 8-winged demonic python. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others ran over in confusion. Their eyes were still filled with shock. The meat of this big snake can only be roasted. Otherwise, it will have a fishy smell. The big bird's wings are also fragrant if roasted. The pig's head can be stewed into soup. Unfortunately, I didn't bring a pot. Moreover, the pig's head is too ugly. I'm afraid that I'll be traumatized if I eat it. Let's forget about it. I have enough meat to eat. Su, he said. He wanted to roast the meat. It had been a long time since he had a sumptuous meal. He said to Zhang Qing and the others, help me find some firewood and build a stove. Remove the feathers and scales of the bird's wings and snake's meat. Su, he divided the work and asked Zhang Qing and the others to help. He wants to eat meat. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others swallowed their saliva. Only then did they understand that Su, he wanted to eat meat. This place was originally the nest of the wolf-headed demonic bats. It was not far from a water source. Not far away, there was a clear spring flowing in the mountains. Su Jiahui, Wang Fan, and the others also helped. They removed the feathers, scales, and cleaned the beast's meat. The feathers on the scarlet flame demonic eagle's wings were thick and sturdy. It was not easy to remove the feathers. The scales on the 8-winged demonic python's meat were even harder to remove. They were incomparably hard and sharp. They had to be handled carefully. Su, he fiddled with the space bag at the side. Then, under the astonished gaze of Situ Muyang, the Xianyang golden demonic falcon, and the wolf-headed demonic bat leader, he took out some bottles of oil, salt, sauce, and vinegar. This guy, is he preparing to eat the barbaric demonic beasts at any time? Situ Muyang clicked his tongue. Looking at Su Yi's well-prepared appearance, it seemed that he was prepared to roast the barbaric demonic beasts at any time. This guy was too fierce. The Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat leader were even more shocked. Weren't they supposed to eat humans? But this lord in front of them didn't seem to be a normal human. It was as if he was the complete opposite. He was prepared to eat the barbaric demonic beasts at any time. After some preparations, the feathers and scales of the scarlet flame demonic eagle's wings and the 8-winged demonic python's meat were removed and sent to Su Yi. Su Yi started a fire with his fire attributed Yuan Qi. He started a fire and started roasting the meat. Not long after, the scarlet flame demonic eagle's wings and the 8-winged demonic python's meat were covered in oil and sizzling sounds. The fragrance of the meat assailed the nostrils. It was golden in color, and there was even a glow that made people drool. This was the meat of a 5th-level demon spirit, realm barbaric demonic beast. It could definitely be considered a treasure. The meat contained energy. If consumed, it would bring boundless benefits and increase one's cultivation. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, Wang Fan, and the others were originally standing at the side, curiously watching Su Yi barbecue the meat. In the end, when they smelled the aroma and saw the mouth-watering barbecue meat, their saliva almost flowed out. The meat of a 5th-level demon spirit, realm barbaric demonic beast, was something that they wouldn't be able to eat normally. This level of barbaric demonic beast wasn't something that could be eaten by just anyone. Smells so good. Su Jiahui and Sitamuyang were also watching from the side. They were originally curious, but at this moment, they couldn't help but drool. Not to mention Su Jiahui and Sitamuyang. Even the Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat leader were secretly swallowing their saliva. Chapter 460. Bring the pig's head over. I'll roast it for you guys. That's your reward. Sui said as he looked at the profound sun gold demon falcon and the wolf-head bat leader. The head of the two-headed demonic python was too ugly. He was afraid that he would be traumatized if he ate it. However, he could give it to the profound sun gold demon falcon and the wolf-head bat leader. Hearing Su Yi's words, the profound sun gold demon falcon grabbed the head of the two-headed demonic python and handed it over to Su Yi with a look of reverence. The head of the two-headed demonic python wasn't small. It weighed no less than 200 pounds. It wasn't easy to roast it. However, Su Yi was serious about roasting the head of the two-headed demonic python. Although he didn't intend to eat it, it was still a basic respect for the food. Finally, the roasted meat was cooked. The fragrance of the meat filled the air, and the luster made everyone salivate. You guys take half each. Go. Su Yi tore open the head of the two-headed demonic python. Steam billowed out, and the fragrance assailed their nostrils. He threw it over to the profound sun gold demon falcon and the wolf head bat leader, who were already drooling. It smells so good. Let me have a taste. It had been a long time since he had a good meal. Su Yi couldn't wait any longer. He tore off a piece of meat from the scarlet flame eagle's wing and stuffed it into his mouth. His mouth was filled with the fragrance of the meat. It melted in his mouth and left a rich aftertaste. His face was intoxicated. Delicious. Su Yi slightly closed his eyes, as if he was still reminiscing about the taste. As expected of a fifth-level demon spirit realm scarlet flame eagle's wing, the meat quality was indeed different. Looking at Su Yi's intoxicated face, Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, Sitamuyang, and the rest couldn't help swallowing their saliva. It looked delicious. As cultivators, although their cultivation wasn't high, they generally didn't need to eat much. Grains were good stuff, but to cultivators, it could also produce a lot of foul qi in their body. However, this appetite was something that humans were born with, especially when Su Yi was roasting the meat of a fifth-level demon spirit realm barbarian beast. The aroma and color of the meat made Zhang Qing and Situ Muyang salivate. They couldn't hold themselves back. Come, let's eat together. Su Yi opened his eyes and wolfed down the barbecued meat in his hand. At the same time, he called for Situ Muyang, Zhang Qing, and Su Jiahui to come forward and eat together. It looked so delicious. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others couldn't wait any longer. Su Jiahui didn't stand on ceremony, but compared to Zhang Qing, Lu Ji and the others were much more elegant. Situ Muyang was conflicted, but in the end, he couldn't hold back. Square root, Cool Craftsman Net K, only K, positive BG, edition XJ. The other 0 He 9G are all SM steel, inversion percent. It's so delicious. This is a delicacy of the world. When Situ Muyang took a bite of the barbecued meat, the expression on his face changed. The aftertaste was endless. He had never eaten such delicious meat before. Eat more if it's delicious. Su Yi patted Situ Muyang's shoulder with his oily hand. Situ Muyang was a little surprised. He ignored Su Yi and wolfed down the meat as well. Whoa. At this moment, the miserable two-headed demonic python, scarlet flame eagle, and eight-winged demonic python appeared once again. They came back to deliver the sword vein stone, elixirs, and other treasures. They didn't dare to disobey as they were afraid that Su Yi would go to their nest. My wings! My meat! The scarlet flame demonic eagle and the eight-winged demonic python almost collapsed when they saw those people eating heartily and wolfing down the food. They recognized at a glance that those people were eating their wings and meat. The eight-winged demonic python and scarlet flame eagle had mixed feelings when they saw their meat being eaten and roasted with such a delicious smell. The two-headed demonic python didn't feel good either. It saw one of its heads being eaten by the wolf-headed demonic bat and Xianyang golden demonic falcon until only the bones were left. The iron-armored griffin, silver crystal poisonous scorpion, and the others trembled. Although they weren't being eaten, they were shocked by such cruelty. All along, it was the barbaric beasts that ate humans. They had never seen someone eating them so cruelly and roasting them. Though, at the same time, the silver crystal poisonous scorpion and the others swallowed their saliva as they smelled the aroma. They couldn't help but drool. The 8-winged demonic python, scarlet flame eagle, and the 2-headed demonic python were furious. They wanted to fight with their lives on the line, but they restrained themselves in the end. They knew how terrifying that young man was. If they provoked him again, they would only become a meal for him. Thus, the 8-winged demonic python, scarlet flame eagle, and the others obediently handed over the sword-patterned stone, spirit herbs, and some treasures they collected from the nest. He was satisfied. He kept them in his space bag and smiled. With his mouth full of grease, he said to the scarlet flame eagle, 8-winged demonic python, and the others, "You guys worked hard. Do you want to eat some together?" No. The 8-winged demonic python and the others shook their heads and immediately retreated. Looking at those humans wolfing down the meat, they were afraid that if the meat wasn't enough for them, they would be in trouble. The silver crystal poisonous scorpion, 2-headed demonic python, and the others didn't dare to stay. At this moment, they wanted to leave as soon as possible. What if this savage young man wanted to change his taste and wanted to eat their roasted meat? Eat, don't waste it. He wolfed down the meat. Not only did the barbaric beast's meat taste good, but it also contained energy. If he ate more, he could refine it for his own use. Then, under the night sky, these people surrounded the old road and ate heartily. Their mouths were full of grease. The Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat leader had already finished eating. They watched from the side and were very moved. Xiongye's gaze was complicated. Is this lord really a human? He's so savage. He's even more savage than the barbaric beasts. After half an hour, dozens of kilograms of 8-winged demonic python's meat and scarlet flame eagle's wings were all eaten by them. Each of them burped, and their faces were full of satisfaction and happiness. It's delicious. It's too delicious. Sita Muyang ate happily. He suddenly felt that it was getting more and more interesting to be with Su-yi, this savage guy. Let's do some breathing exercises. We'll set off tomorrow. Su-yi patted his round belly and burped. Although it seemed that he had suppressed several barbaric beasts in a big battle, Su-yi knew that in order to end the battle quickly, he kept using his trump cards and went all out. He was almost exhausted. After eating so much barbaric beast meat, it was time for him to do some breathing exercises and refine it for his own use. Soon, several figures sat cross-legged on the ground and did some breathing exercises. Gradually, they were enveloped by light. This was the wolf-headed demonic bat's nest. The 8-winged demonic python and the other barbaric beast leaders had already left, so they didn't have to worry about anything. Soon, several figures were enveloped in a yuan qi light. The light spread and there were energy waves. At night, there was silence everywhere. The moon was dark and the stars were bright. The atmosphere was somewhat oppressive. Chapter 461. There are too many of them. We can't stop them. There are demon spirit realm barbaric beasts. We're no match for them. Someone spoke to the young men and women standing at the front. Their eyes were filled with anticipation as if they had seen their savior. Something's not right. Something must have happened. A young man spoke. His eyes were sharp as his robe fluttered. The night was silent. Many figures were listless. In the dark night, their eyes were dim. A young man in his early 20s was wearing an inner disciple badge. His face was pale as he stood in front of a young man who seemed to be around the same age as him. His eyes were filled with respect. He was Fu Tingguang, who had been cultivating in seclusion. With his current cultivation, he was comparable to some direct disciples. He originally thought that his outstanding performance in the Myriad Sword battlefield would be enough for him to become a direct disciple. Who knew that he would encounter groups of barbaric beasts the moment he entered the Myriad Sword battlefield. They were unstoppable. If he hadn't handed over his interspatial bag, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Senior brother, this is what happened. There were barbaric beasts everywhere. We're no match for them. Fu Tingguang said respectfully to a young man in front of him. The young man had a delicate and indifferent face. Under the dim moonlight and the light in his eyes, his long eyelashes cast a thick shadow under his eyes. He was as fair as a woman's, and his dazzling black eyes were filled with solemnity. His brows moved slightly, but he didn't even look at Fu Tingguang. His voice was calm and indifferent as he said, "They only robbed the interspatial bags and didn't kill on purpose." It seems like the sect didn't purposely arrange this to increase the difficulty of the Myriad Sword Conference. Someone must be secretly relieved. No matter what, it seems like this Myriad Sword Conference will be different from the previous ones. As soon as he finished speaking, the young man's lips turned red. His white clothes accentuated his tall and slender figure. Although his figure looked thin, he wasn't weak. His black eyes were calmly looking at the twinkling stars in the night sky. Fu Tingguang secretly raised his head and secretly glanced at the young man in front of him. He seemed to want to say something, but he hesitated. Just say what you want to say. After all, you're my cousin. After this trip, you should be able to become a personal disciple of the 15th Sword Peak. There's no need to be so reserved. The white-robed young man spoke, as though nothing could escape his prying eyes. Senior brother, Su Yi has also entered the Myriad Sword battlefield. Hearing that, Fu Tingguang became a lot braver. He looked at the young man in white and said, "But there's no news about that fella." However, after that fella came in, he offended many people and stole many inner court disciples' interspatial bags. Su, he's the one who crippled Teng Ming and heavily injured Ba Yi and the others, the young man in white said indifferently. The 15th Sword Peak is not empty. If you have the chance, you can try. Early in the morning, the first rays of the morning sun shone through the hazy fog. Phew! Su Yi spat out a mouthful of turbid air along his throat. His robe fluttered, and his aura surged vigorously. His complexion recovered its ruddy complexion. Feeling everything in his body, Su Yi's eyes were filled with a smile. The demon spirit realm brute beast meat was indeed very beneficial. In just one night, Su Yi had not only recovered his energy, but the yuan qi in his body had also increased by a lot. Situ Muyang, Su Jiahui, and Zhangqing had also woken up. They retracted their hand seals and opened their eyes. From the smiles on their faces, it could be seen that the three of them had also obtained a lot of benefits. Lu Ji, Wang Fan, and Tan Chao were still shrouded in light, and there were energy fluctuations around their bodies. These three guys, are they preparing to break through? Su Yi stood up and looked at the three of them from afar. Looking at their movements, the three of them seemed to be in the midst of breaking through. After obtaining the benefits from the brute beast meat, it was very likely that they were about to step into the profound origin realm. There were long and short periods of breaking through. No one knew how long it would take for them to break through. Su Yi didn't want to stay here any longer. This was the nest of the wolf-headed demonic bats, guarding the profound spiritual fruit tree. The direct disciples should have already entered the Myriad Sword battlefield and would most likely be here to search for the profound spiritual fruit. Therefore, it wasn't wise to stay here any longer. But in this situation, Lu Ji and the rest were in the midst of breaking through. If they were to be disturbed, their efforts would be wasted, and they might even suffer from qi deviation. Fortunately, the three of them broke through one after another. 3 new auras filled the air, and the three of them stepped into the profound origin realm. The three of them broke through quickly. They had obtained a lot of benefits from the brute beast meat. With their Yuan soul realm cultivation, eating so much 5th-level demon spirit realm brute beast meat was a great supplement for them. Of course, the most important thing was the spiritual liquid that Lu Ji and the rest had obtained from Su Yi's mysterious space. The brute beast meat was just a primer. The three of them were overjoyed when they broke through and stepped into the profound origin realm. They stood up and bowed to Su Yi with tears in their eyes. The three of them clearly understood that if it were not for Su Yi, they would not have had such a fortuitous encounter. They basically did not need to expend any effort to step into the Yuan profound stage that they yearned for in their dreams. You're welcome. It's time for us to leave. Sui faintly smiled. He was happy for Lu Ji and the rest. On the 36th Sword Peak, Lu Ji and the rest had taken care of them. But it's a pity that there were dozens of outer disciples on the 36th Sword Peak, and some of them were still missing. Sita Muyang was watching from his side. He could tell that Su Yi had been taking care of Lu Ji, Zhang Qing, Su Jiahui, and the rest. That ferocious fella wasn't stingy when it came to his own people. We have to leave this place as soon as possible. 5 update DP is the fastest X fast Su Shang equals cool % Z craftsman soon after. Su Yi told Sita Muyang, Su Jiahui, and the rest that they shouldn't stay here for too long. Those direct disciples should be on their way to look for the mystical spirit fruit. Sita Muyang said, rolling his eyes at Sui. There are so many mystical spirit fruits, a whole tree, but Su Yi had uprooted all of them. He was afraid that when those direct disciples arrived, they would all collapse. Where are we going? Zhang Qing asked. There's a place to go. Su Yi smiled mysteriously. He then ordered the wolf-headed bat leader to temporarily leave and find a place to hide for 10 days to half a month, waiting for the direct disciples who came to search for the mystical spirit fruit to leave before returning. It's not difficult, the wolf-headed bat replied in beast language. As long as there was a cave, the wolf-headed bat would be able to rest temporarily. A moment later, the nest of wolf-headed demonic bats spread their wings and left. Let's go. Chapter 462. Nation, the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon let out a screech, spread its wings, and soared into the sky. The wolf-headed bat leader followed behind. In the depths of the myriad sword battlefield, the wolf-headed bat leader was a peak 5th level demon spirit realm barbaric beast. Su Yi decided to bring it along as a form of protection. At the very least, the wolf-headed bat leader would be able to protect Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others who weren't strong enough. Where are we going? On the back of the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon, Sita Muyang asked Su Yi. We're going to look for opportunities. Su Yi told him his plan. He managed to gather quite a lot of information from the various leaders. Some of the information was reliable, while some weren't. However, Su Yi wanted to give it a try. Who knows? He might be able to find something. The sun hung high in the sky, illuminating the mountains. On the ancient land, there were towering mountains, dense forests, deep valleys, and deep cliffs. Let's go and look for opportunities. On the back of the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon, Su Yi stood straight with his sword and blade crossed behind his back. He looked handsome, and his purple robe fluttered in the wind. His arrogance added to his ferociousness. Some places are dangerous. Be careful. Sita Muyang reminded Su Yi. What's there to be afraid of? Fortune comes from danger. Su Yi chuckled. Soon after, Su Yi asked the wolf-headed bat leader. With its cultivation, it might know more about this place. Lord, I know some places that aren't far from here. However, they're guarded by barbaric beasts that are stronger than me. There should be elixirs in those places. Otherwise, they wouldn't be guarding there. The wolf-headed bat leader said, How strong are those barbaric beasts? Su Yi's eyes flickered. You want to know more about it? Those barbaric beasts rarely come out. I estimate that they are at the 6th level of the demon spirit realm. The wolf-headed bat leader said, Although it's at the peak of the 5th level of the demon spirit realm, it's still a level higher than the barbaric beasts. Then let's go. We'll go to the nearest one first. Su Yi reckoned that it wasn't like there was no chance at all. Riches and honor were found in danger. If one didn't take risks, how could there be any gains? Thus, the figures and the 2 barbaric demonic beasts entered the mountain range. Dusk. Mountains. Aoo. The howls of wolves resounded through the air as blood and fiendish chi surged. Bat, how dare you offend me? In the cave of the canyon, a muffled roar resounded in the language of beasts. A gigantic pangolin barbarian demon beast, which was covered in dense scales and suffused with black light, swept out. It opened its mouth and spat out a beam of light towards a wolf-headed demon bat in the void. Oh, The wolf-headed demonic bat directly activated the Blood Fiend bewildering barrier. The Blood Fiend aura surged, and faint cries of ghosts and gods could be heard. Woo-woo. How could the pangolin be afraid of the wolf-headed demonic bat? It was at the 6th level of the demon spirit realm, and with this trump card, it was the overlord of this area. Its aura surged, causing sand and stones to fly into the air, forming a tornado. Walala. Under such an aura, the entire canyon began to tremble. Space rippled, and the aura filled the sky. The scene was horrifying, and the Blood Fiend aura was dispersed. Suddenly, the pangolin seemed to have felt something. Its face changed, and its eyes were filled with unease. 8 Baron Fury, crushing mountains and rivers. Mad Dragon's 3 blades, Overlord Slash. Boom! A loud roar was accompanied by a vast aura. Scarlet light filled the air, and Su Yi's figure appeared. His eyes were dazzling like lightning. His clothes were fluttering, and his black hair was fluttering. His aura was indescribable, as if it was filled with the fury of thunder. At the same time, a vortex of yuan qi appeared under Su Yi's feet. Like a storm, it caused the earth to tremble and the air to rumble. There was also a saber light that shot out like a bolt of lightning. The scarlet light was like an erupting volcano, and it swept across the area. It was as if the shadow of a scarlet dragon was faintly discernible, and it caused the mountain rocks below to crack inch by inch. The cracks exploded, and the huge rocks turned into fine powder. The terrifying aura covered the sky and covered the earth. The pangolin's eyes were filled with shock. It was completely enveloped by the scarlet saber light that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. The incomparably vast and domineering aura swept across the area, causing the soul of the pangolin to tremble in fear. Bang, bang, bang. The saber light fell, and Su Yi's figure landed. He then ruthlessly stomped on the pangolin's back. The pitiful pangolin's body crashed into the ground. Cracks as thick as an arm spread out in all directions like a spider web, and the rocks collapsed. A majestic and domineering aura descended. The pangolin spat out blood. The scales on its body were broken, and it was stained with blood. It opened its mouth and spat out blood. Its eyes trembled, and it couldn't help but roar. It was unable to resist. A moment later, the cave was filled with rays of light and a medicinal fragrance. A faint green lingji was emitting rays of light. It was crystal clear and made people drool. Green jade lingji, what a treasure! Su Yi was overjoyed. This green jade lingji was extremely rare. It could be used to concoct star-tier elixirs. Most importantly, this green jade lingji was rumored to be able to strengthen one's soul force. Anything that could strengthen one's soul force was extremely rare. No wonder this 6th-level demon spirit realm barbarian was guarding this place. It's definitely something good. Su Yi didn't stand on ceremony, as he carefully kept the green jade lingji. In the next few days, a group of people appeared in the depths of the myriad sword battlefield. They found trouble with a few powerful barbarian beasts and left in the end. This group of people used the wolf-headed demonic bat to lure the barbarian beasts out. Then, someone would sneak up on them and launch a sneak attack. In the next few days, something big happened. Many direct disciples found the original location of the profound spirit tree, but they found that the profound spirit tree had long since disappeared. Even the rumored wolf head demon bat guarding the profound spirit tree had disappeared. There are traces of a great battle nearby. It should have happened not long ago. There are traces of wolf-headed demonic bats in the cave. They must have left not long ago. There are scales and feathers in front of us, as well as broken bones. There's also firewood and a stove that hasn't been completely burned. It looks like someone is barbecuing meat nearby. Soon after, there were people who investigated, finding many clues and signs. Someone must have beaten us to it. The mystical spiritual fruit must have fallen into that person's hands. Find it for me. We must find out who it is. The mystical spiritual fruit must be obtained. I must find that person. Immediately, all sorts of orders were sent out, and all the personal disciples began to search for the person who had obtained the mystical spirit fruit. At this moment, Su-Yi was transplanting the green jade Ganoderma and other elixirs in the mysterious space of the hidden place. He had the same miser smile on his face. This trip was worth it. Su-Yi was very satisfied with what he had obtained in the past few days. After exiting the mysterious space, Su-Yi found the wolf-headed demonic bat, Situ-Muyang, and the rest. We all have a share of the elixirs. Once we're out of the myriad sword battlefield, I'll distribute the elixirs according to how much effort we put in. Chapter 463. You're the one who did all the work. Actually, I didn't help much. Situ-Muyang was a little embarrassed. In the past few days, the thing he did the most was to help Su-Yi lure out those barbaric beasts. All of the barbaric beasts were dealt with by Su-Yi. After interacting with him for a while, Situ-Muyang also realized that it was pretty good to be by this terrifying guy's side. Everything was fresh and new. Although it was risky, it was also exciting. Situ-Muyang looked at the fierce young man in front of him and felt that he wasn't as annoying as before. He even started to like and worship him. It was a very subtle feeling. Of course you did all the work. You lured so many barbaric beasts away. We said that we'll share blessings and misfortunes together. Su-Yi said seriously. Situ-Muyang smiled bitterly and didn't say anything else. He asked, so where are we going now? In the past few days, although Su-Yi was the one who did all the work, the thrilling scene of facing so many powerful barbaric beasts had also tempered Situ-Muyang. He was looking forward to what was going to happen next. There aren't any elixirs nearby. Let's go to that dangerous place. Su-Yi pondered for a while. Light flashed in his eyes. The mystic sun golden demonic falcon, the wolf-headed demonic bat, and a group of big and small demonic beasts had mentioned a dangerous place. It was said that the dangerous place was not simple. Oh, my lord, that dangerous place is very strange. You might not be able to find it even if you want to. The entrance appears and disappears. The wolf-headed bat leader informed Su-Yi. That dangerous place was very strange and had many mysteries and dangers. My lord, that dangerous place is said to be very dangerous. Almost all of the living beings that enter never come out. Very few of them are able to come out. The Xianyang golden demonic falcon asked. Although it did not know as much as the wolf-headed demonic bat leader, it had still heard a lot. After all, the myriad sword battlefield was only a small place. Anything that happened would be spread out. Even humans don't know about that place. The entrance appears and disappears, but it's too dangerous. The aura inside is very terrifying. So even if creatures find the entrance, they don't dare to go in. In the past, all the creatures that entered never came out. The wolf-headed demonic bat's heart palpitated. When it came to that mysterious place, it was very fearful. If you don't even know about the Xinjiang Gate, then there must be something special about it. Maybe there really is a great opportunity. Su-Yi muttered in his heart as he pondered. From the words of the wolf-headed bat leader and the profound sun golden demon falcon, it was not difficult to find out that the danger zone was indeed very dangerous. Almost all the creatures that entered it did not come out. Let's go take a look at the situation first. After a while, Su-Yi made a decision and decided to go and see the situation first. From the mouths of the wolf-headed bat leader and the profound sun golden demon falcon, Su-Yi carefully understood the situation of the danger zone. The danger zone was very mysterious, and it seemed to have only appeared recently. There were often entrances, so this was also one of the reasons why even the Xinjiang Gate did not know about it. As for whether the entrance to the danger zone had appeared before, the wolf-headed bat leader and the profound sun golden demon falcon were not sure. At the very least, they did not know. Although the entrance appeared and disappeared, there was a general area that appeared in the nearby mountain range. Whoosh whoosh. Everyone rode on the profound sun golden demon falcon and set off, heading towards the mountain range at the entrance of the danger zone. Although the distance was not close, with the speed of the profound sun golden demon falcon, it did not take much time. The mountains were connected. This was an ancient forest. The towering trees were connected, as if they were used as a canopy. The branches and leaves were lush, and the waves were like the sea. The trees were tall and straight, and under the quiet sky, they looked solemn and magnificent. This place was too big. Su-yi, Situmuyang, Su-jiahui, and the others landed. It was as if they were immediately swallowed by this ancient forest. All around them were deep mountains and dense forests. Giant trees towered into the sky, and tens of thousands of trees were lofty. Sir, it's around here. There are also some powerful barbaric beasts here. The wolf-headed bat reminded Su-yi. It was quite familiar with this place. The entrance is something that can only be found by chance. If you find it, say it earlier. Su-yi decided to check around to see if he could find anything. Half an hour later, Su-yi really did find something. However, this harvest was not anything good. It was a barbaric beast that sneaked up on them. It was a strange beast that looked like an ape. It had sharp fangs, and its body was covered in green light. Its claws were like hooks. It swooped down from the towering tree and attacked Su-jiahui, who was at the back. Swoosh! The strange beast's claws were like hooks. They were extremely sharp, and they twisted the air with a ferocious force. This strange beast had the talent for sneak attacks. It pounced out silently and attacked suddenly. Its speed was as fast as lightning. Su-yi felt it, but it was too fast. It was too late for him to help. Be careful! A white light flashed out, and Situmuyang's figure appeared behind Su-jiahui. He raised his arm and punched out explosively, blocking the attack. Puff! Bang! This kind of collision was almost unstoppable. Situmuyang was directly pushed back. His body hit the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Ayo! The saber light was like lightning. Red light filled the air, and there was a faint sound of a dragon's roar. Su-yi made his move. The wild dragon's 3 blades overlord slash was directly slashed out. The red saber light was like a volcano erupting, suddenly erupting and covering the sky. The ferocious eyes of the strange beast were also enveloped by the red saber light that covered the sky and earth. The vast and incomparably fierce and domineering power swept out. Its entire body shone brightly and dazzlingly. An energy light pillar rushed out to resist the saber light. Rumble, sand and stones flew around, and towering trees were broken. That powerful saber light was actually blocked. Ayo! Look at the K chapter, section U on the G. Oh, asterisk, the wolf-headed bat leader pounced down and directly used its trump card, the Blood Fiend Bewildering Barrier. Immediately, the Blood Fiend chi that covered the sky and earth rushed out and spread out in all directions. Roar! The strange beast roared. Its entire body was covered by a green, crystal-like light. Then it was drowned in the billowing Blood Fiend chi. The Blood Fiend chi swept out and drowned everything, causing many towering trees to wither. But when everything dissipated, the wolf-headed bat leader's figure appeared. Its eyes were a little stunned. The strange beast had actually escaped from its Blood Fiend Bewildering Barrier. It was silent and did not leave any traces. It escaped. Su-yi's expression changed. Such a strange beast was very strange. Are you all right? Su-jiahui went to Situmuyang's side. Her eyes were filled with gratitude as she helped Situmuyang up. If it wasn't for Situmuyang's help, she could imagine what would have happened to her. I won't die. I'm just injured. I don't know what that evil beast is. It's very strong and strange. Situmuyang stood up with Su-jiahui's help. His face was pale. He was seriously injured in one move. He didn't even get to see what the beast looked like. Chapter 464. Su-yi went to Situmuyang's side and handed a healing pill to Situmuyang. The barbaric beast from before was very powerful. Most importantly, it was good at hiding. This made Su-yi very wary. He wasn't afraid, but Su-jiahui and the others were around, so he couldn't help but be worried. Situmuyang didn't stand on ceremony and stuffed the healing pill in Su-yi's hand into his mouth. His interspatial bag was with Su-yi. Everyone continued on their journey. After such a sneak attack, everyone was extra careful, especially Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others. They originally thought that they would be safe with Su-Yi around, but now they were trembling in fear and had no choice but to be extra careful. Fortunately, the beast seemed to have gone far and didn't appear again. Half an hour later, Su-Yi found a high-grade spiritual herb in a crevice. It was close to maturity and was worth a lot. He carefully pulled it out by the roots and happily kept it in his interspatial bag. Woo-woo! Suddenly, a bright white light swept out and a huge monster rushed out. Its bloody mouth flicked its tongue, and the smell of blood filled the air. It pounced on Su-Yi, wanting to swallow Su-Yi. Boom! Almost at the same time, Su-Yi shook his arm, his 5 fingers clenched into a fist. A terrifying yuan qi burst out from his fist like an erupting volcano, the red light shining brightly, as if his fist had also expanded. Wong wong. A clear sound of wind and thunder could be heard from his fist. It was like the sound of thunder rumbling loudly. It was as if an overlord had awakened and an emperor had descended. Boom, 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 boom. In the next instant, a fist collided with the ferocious beast's bloody mouth. The fist rumbled and the surrounding space seemed to fluctuate. An unusually wild and violent energy immediately exploded within the ferocious beast's bloody mouth. Bang, bang. A huge gust of wind formed a wave of air that shot out like a storm. Wherever the storm passed, it produced a series of muffled and astonishing sounds, like a sudden clap of thunder. Su-Yi staggered a step back, and the ground beneath his feet cracked. The beast was flipped over, its bloody mouth was shattered, and blood splattered everywhere. Su-Yi waved his sleeve, and an energy radiance spread out, isolating the blood mist. Walala, along with the blood mist, a white python fell in front of Su-Yi. It was already dead, and there wasn't even a corpse left. This ferocious scene caused Zhang Qing and the others to tremble in fear and shock. Su-Yi sized up the python's corpse. From the previous exchange, this python should be at the 4th level of the demon spirit realm. Sure enough, any place with spiritual herbs in the myriad sword battlefield would be guarded by barbarian beasts, making it difficult to obtain them. It's a pity that I'm not going to eat this python. The python was at the 4th level of the demon spirit realm, and its flesh was a great tonic. Su-Yi was a little reluctant to part with it, but this place wasn't a good place, and there was also the beast that ambushed them earlier. In the end, Su-Yi had no choice but to give up. He kept the python's flesh in his interspatial pouch. The flesh of a barbarian beast of this level is a treasure. It won't spoil that easily. The group continued on their way, searching for the entrance to the danger zone. But until dusk, they only found a few herbs and nothing else. The entrance to the danger zone is constantly changing, and it appears at a different location every time. Furthermore, the time is uncertain, so we might not be able to find it. The wolf-head demonic bat said. They had already searched the area, and according to its knowledge, the entrance to the danger zone isn't something that can be found easily. It depends on luck. Is there really no luck? Su-Yi muttered. He understood that this kind of thing depends on luck, and it can't be forced. Let's barbecue the meat. We'll look for it tomorrow. If we can't find it, then forget it. Su-Yi said, and got the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-head demonic bat to look around. The python meat in the interspatial pouch can't be wasted. They washed the meat and barbecued it. 2 hours later, the mouth-watering aroma of the barbecued meat filled the ancient mountain range. Situ Muyang, Zhang Qing, Su Jiahui, and the rest were already familiar with the meat. They didn't hold back and wolfed down the meat. Su-Yi took big bites of the meat. The meat of the python was pretty good. Of course, the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-head demonic bat were guarding by the side. Su-Yi threw a big piece to each of them, and they were drooling. After finishing the barbecued meat, Zhang Qing, Su Jiahui, and the rest sat down with their legs crossed and began refining the benefits of the barbarian beast's meat. Situ Muyang was already injured, so he started to heal himself. Su-Yi didn't dare to relax. After the sneak attack of the barbarian beast during the day, Su-Yi didn't dare to be careless. He sat down with his legs crossed, but his mind was focused on the surroundings, and his soul energy spread out. The Xianyang golden demon falcon and the wolf-head demonic bat were also perched on high ground. Their sharp eyes were filled with light, and they scanned the surroundings like a radar. Time passed slowly. In the ancient mountain range, there were several figures shrouded in light, and their auras were rippling. Xinjiang Gate. On top of a mountain peak, there were many figures with powerful auras gathered. The bright moon hung high in the sky, and the moonlight shone down. For a long time, free of charge, look at GW small RCS. The mystical spirit fruit should have ripened by now. This time, their luck is pretty good. They just happened to encounter the ripening of the mystical spirit fruit. Yeah, I wonder who will get the mystical spiritual fruit. Dozens of mystical spiritual fruits. It will be a fierce battle. The wolf-headed demon bat, guarding the mystical spirit fruit, is also not easy to deal with. It will not be easy to obtain the mystical spirit fruit. This is supposed to be a trial, but with Ryugan River's cultivation and strength, it shouldn't be a big problem. It's their good fortune to be able to obtain the mystical spirit fruit. Their foundations are destined to be much more stable than those of the same cultivation level. Their futures are limitless. Many figures with powerful auras smiled with anticipation. They all hoped that their disciples would be able to obtain the mystical spiritual fruit. Something happened in the heavenly platform this time. Could something have happened in the myriad sword battlefield as well? There was an elder-looking old man who was slightly worried. Even the heavenly platform had problems, so he wondered if something unexpected would happen in the battlefield of 10,000 swords. There shouldn't be any problems in the battlefield of 10,000 swords. Everything is for the sake of sharpening the juniors. I want to know who will be able to perform outstandingly this time. An elder spoke. His eyes were dazzling like stars. Yin Lingfeng, Ryugan River, Gu Chunyu, and the other disciples are destined to be extraordinary. A middle-aged man spoke. Yin Lingfeng, Ryugan River, and the other personal disciples were destined to be extraordinary. They were not something that ordinary disciples could compare to. Chapter 465. Late at night, it was quiet. Boom! Suddenly, in the depths of this mountain range, a light rushed out, like the rising sun, shining in all directions. A vast aura also spread out. This aura carried an inexplicable and terrifying might, and it was as if it had charged out of time and space. Swish, swish. Under this vast aura, figures suddenly opened their eyes and looked in the direction of the vast aura. The light there was dazzling, like a divine cloud, as if a miracle was opening, but the pressure in the vast aura made people tremble. Oh, the wolf-headed bat leader and the Xianyang golden demon falcon growled, their eyes trembling. Under the aura that spread out from afar, their souls trembled for no reason. "Sir, that's the entrance to the dangerous place," the wolf-headed bat exclaimed in beast language. That was the rumored entrance to the dangerous place, and they actually encountered it. Swoosh, swoosh. Su Yi's figure swept out, the Yuan Qi under his feet swept, and his figure instantly disappeared from the spot. A moment later, in the quiet canyon, a spatial crack like a portal appeared, surrounded by divine clouds. Inside the crack, it was dark and deep, bottomless, and there was a faint sound of ghosts crying and gods howling, and the roar of beasts, shaking one's soul. "It's here. This is the entrance." It won't appear for a long time. After entering, I didn't see any of the creatures coming out. The wolf-headed bat said in beast language. In the face of the vast aura, its heart was unconsciously filled with fear, and it did not dare to approach. Oh, whoa. From the entrance crack, the faint roar of beasts constantly came out, causing Su Yi to frown slightly. He felt that the aura was indeed extraordinary. Are we really going in? Sita Muyang looked a little hesitant, feeling that the vast aura that spread out was indeed different, and secretly had a feeling of fear. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, Su Jiahui, Wang Fan, and Tan Chao did not speak, and stood behind. The closer they got to the entrance, the more their hearts trembled. Wealth comes from danger. We really encountered the entrance. This is the will of heaven. This is an opportunity. We can't miss it. After pondering for a while, Su-yi gritted his teeth and made a decision. If they had not found the entrance, it would have been fine. But now that the entrance had appeared, it was an opportunity. It was God's will. Wealth came from danger. Even the Shunjin Gate did not know about this entrance. Maybe there was something good inside. Asterisk. It looks very dangerous here. Su Jiahui was a little worried and reminded Su-yi. Make your choice. I plan to go in and take a look. Su-yi said sternly to everyone. The dangers inside the entrance were unknown, and life and death were uncertain. Even he had no confidence. Everything was unknown, so there was no way to ensure the safety of others. The same goes for all of you. It's up to you whether you want to come in or not. If you don't want to come in, you're free to leave. Su-yi said to the mystic Sun Golden Demon Falcon and the Wolf-Head Bat Leader. The dangers inside the entrance were unknown. Although the mystic Sun Golden Demon Falcon and the Wolf-Head Bat Leader were not weak. If Su-yi couldn't handle it, then the mystic Sun Golden Demon Falcon and the Wolf-Head Bat Leader wouldn't be of much help. As soon as he finished speaking, Su-yi took a step forward and walked into the space crack. The entrance looked bottomless and was filled with divine light. As Su-yi walked in, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. Instantly, Su-yi's figure was swallowed up. Su-yi's figure disappeared without a trace. The Wolf-Head Bat Leader and the mystic Sun Golden Demon Falcon's eyes lit up. They seemed to be deep in thought. Then they both followed in. Su Jiahui and Zhang Qing didn't hesitate either. Although they were a little apprehensive, they still followed him in. Lu Ji, Tan Xiao, and Wang Fan followed closely behind. Wealth comes from danger. Who's afraid of who? Situ Liu Yun's childish face had a hint of an old man's look. She pouted and followed in. Inside the entrance was a dark tunnel. The light was dim. Only faintly discernible light flickered like ghost fire. Accompanied by the roar of beasts, it made people's hair stand on end. This tunnel was not real, but it was not illusory either. It was like a combination of real and illusory. It was bottomless and eerie. Su-yi's figure walked out. He felt a vast pressure in front of him. It was as if it had penetrated through time and came from ancient times. Swoosh, swoosh, the leader of the wolf-headed demonic bats, the Xinyang Golden Demonic Falcon, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, Sita Miang, and the others walked out one by one and appeared behind Su-yi. They could feel that the vast aura in the passageway was suppressed. You're all here. Su-yi turned around and smiled bitterly. Let's go. I want to see what's inside. Sita Miang said. Since they were already here, they were looking forward to it. This eerie passage seemed to be bottomless. Everyone walked forward cautiously. Not long after, Su Jiahui screamed, startling everyone. What's wrong? Su-yi asked. There are so many bones. Su Jiahui's face was a little pale. She looked to the side and saw that there was a pile of white bones. Judging from the bones, they were human bones. The skull made Su Jiahui scream subconsciously. Be careful, Su-yi said to everyone. This passageway was also very mysterious and strange. Everyone and the beasts continued to walk forward carefully. There were more and more bones in the tunnel. There were many large beast bones. There were even beast bodies that were not completely dried. This is the old bull. Rumor has it that it entered the entrance. I didn't expect it to die in there. The Wolf-Head Bat Leader found a demonic bull's body was shriveled. There was no life in it. It recognized the old bull, whose cultivation base was no lower than its own. However, the fact that it had died in the tunnel caused the wolf-headed demonic bat's heart to palpitate even more. Everyone was speechless. They held their breaths and waited. The atmosphere was tense to the extreme. Su-yi released his mind. His soul force had been spying on the surroundings. He was vigilant. Roar! Suddenly, there was a change in the tunnel in front. The void was suddenly filled with red light. Chila, a fierce beast with a wolf's head, a tiger's back, and a scorpion's tail, pounced on Su-yi and the others. Its aura was vast and terrifying. Be careful, Su-yi shouted. He was already prepared. He threw a punch. His aura was surging and the red light was dazzling. Bang! The tunnel rumbled and reverberated. The ferocious beast's shadow was directly smashed into pieces and disappeared. However, there was no blood. It's a shadow, not a living thing. Su Yi was shocked. That ferocious barbaric demonic beast was actually not a living being. It was just an illusion. Roar. Chapter 466. The ferocious beast that had just disappeared and shattered appeared once again, pouncing down with a ferocious aura. Although this ferocious beast was illusory, it was just like a real thing. The bloody aura from its bloody mouth was terrifying. This was too strange. Su Yi's eyes darkened. He pulled out his blade, and blade light spread as he slashed down. Light spread wherever the blade light passed, and the ferocious beast was immediately cut into two. Roar! A shocking scene appeared. The ferocious beast that had been cut in two directly reformed under several shocked gazes, and then continued to pounce. This is a kind of remnant soul. Unless it is completely destroyed, there is no way to deal with it. Sita Muyang exclaimed. He had seen through the clues. This ferocious beast was actually a remnant soul. Boom! Without any time to hesitate, Su Yi's blade light swept out. Under the Berserk Dragon 3-blade, the blade light was like lightning, cutting the ferocious beast into pieces. However, space soon rippled, and the ferocious beast that was a remnant soul reappeared. Its roar was like thunder, and its eyes were terrifying and empty. As a soul controller, Su Yi naturally had an understanding of remnant souls. It was not easy to completely destroy these remnant souls. However, it was not impossible to deal with these remnant souls. The most yang cultivation method was the nemesis of these remnant souls. These remnant souls also had their own attributes, and their attributes countered each other. For example, a fire attribute remnant soul could be suppressed by a water attribute attack. Roar. Soon, the ferocious beast reformed again. Its eyes were terrifying but empty, and it continued to pounce. Boom! His robes fluttered, and scarlet light spread. A vast aura spread from Su Yi's body at this moment. He immediately circulated the Origin Supreme technique. Roar! The ferocious beast that was originally pouncing over seemed to have sensed something at this moment. As Su Yi circulated the Origin Supreme technique, fear immediately surged in its empty eyes, and its illusory beast body trembled. Soon, the gaze in the ferocious beast's empty eyes turned into an instinctive fear and shock. It let out a low roar. Its illusory body came to a halt. It floated in the air, not daring to move forward. Roar! Its empty, ferocious eyes stared at Su Yi in shock. In the end, the ferocious beast slowly retreated. What happened? Sita Muyang was surprised. He found it very strange. This guy is too mysterious. Sita Muyang could also sense Su Yi's aura at this moment. It was a destructive and majestic aura that was incomparably frightening. It must be this aura that caused the remnant soul to be fearful and not dare to move forward. Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others still had lingering fears. Their heartstrings were stretched taut. The wolf-headed bat leader and the Xianyang golden demonic falcon trembled uncontrollably under the aura of Su Yi's Origin Supreme technique. Instinctively, they prostrated themselves in fear. Su Yi's expression relaxed a little. Just as he had expected, even though those beast phantoms were just remnant souls, they were still barbaric demonic beasts after all. The supreme art of origin could still suppress them. Be careful. Let's continue. Su Yi said. He used primordial chaos supreme to open a path and continued forward. Oh, whoa! The tunnel was boiling. Light flickered, the space trembled, and the beasts roared like thunder. As Su Yi and the others moved forward, numerous barbaric demonic beast phantoms appeared in front of them. Their ferocious eyes were empty, but they were filled with an instinctive, murderous aura. The moment these barbaric demonic beast phantoms appeared, they pounced towards Su Yi and the others. However, when they sensed the aura of the supreme art of origin from Su Yi, they stopped and retreated in fear. Oh, the ground was filled with white bones, covering the entire tunnel. Above them, numerous barbaric, demonic beast phantoms roared, revealing their snow-white fangs. The stench of blood filled the air. The aura of these barbaric, demonic beast phantoms had reached an extremely terrifying level. It was even more powerful than the wolf-headed bat leader. Fortunately, the supreme art of origin could suppress them. Su Jiahui and Zhang Qing were trembling in fear. Their legs were weak as they walked. This was too frightening. This is too dangerous. There's only a 9 out of 10 chance of survival. Sita Muyang clicked his tongue. He sensed that among the barbaric, demonic beast phantoms, there were many auras that were close to the demon true realm. These remnant souls were already difficult to deal with. If they really fought, the outcome was obvious. No wonder there were creatures that entered this place, but never came out. It was almost impossible to walk out of here. He was fully focused. He used the supreme art of origin to suppress the endless beast phantoms. The deeper they went, the stronger the beast phantoms became. Boom! Suddenly, several rays of light pierced through the void like sharp arrows. They were suffused with radiance. These were dozens of rhizome-like plant roots. They were also illusory plants, but they were as sharp as real plants. The sound of wind breaking could be heard. It's a spiritual creature. Su Yi's eyes darkened. This wasn't a barbaric demonic beast, but a spiritual creature's remnant soul. Spiritual creatures and barbaric demonic beasts were the same. When they reached a certain level, they could be called demonic beasts. Everything in the world had a spirit. Every flower, grass, and stone could become a demonic beast. CPB, whoosh, these plant roots rushed over. They seemed to be affected by the supreme art of origin. Su Yi also made his move at the same time. Scarlet flame spread. The fire attribute condensed into raging flames. His yuan qi surged and filled the air with a mighty aura. It swept towards the rays of light and burned them. Boom! Suddenly, a bright light appeared. A powerful aura spread out, and an aura that could swallow mountains and rivers descended. The resplendent light surged, sweeping down towards Su Yi. Be careful! Sita Muyang made his move. He deployed the wind-riding battle armor, wanting to share some of the burden with Su Yi. The wind attribute yuan qi on his body whistled like a storm and collided with the rays. Bang! But soon, Sita Muyang was sent flying as soon as he collided with the rays. He spat out blood. Even Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others were sent flying by the terrifying shockwave. They staggered and fell to the ground. Oh! The wolf-headed bat leader roared. The wolf's howl was deafening. Endless blood qi boiled and enveloped the front. The Xianyang golden demon falcon's golden light burst out. It flapped its wings and made a sonorous sound. The two barbarian beasts also made their move to block the attack. But the light was too powerful. The wolf-headed bat leader could not block it, let alone the Xianyang golden demon falcon. It could not withstand the light and was sent flying. Boom! Su Yi's eyes were filled with red light. He slashed out the Mad Dragon's 3 blades Overlord Slash. The blade light was like lightning, sweeping in all directions. The light was finally blocked, and the surrounding light shattered. However, the light only shattered, and a figure was revealed. The figure was illusory. His eyes were filled with terrifying light. Sometimes his face looked like a middle-aged man, sometimes a young man. It was unpredictable. It's a human. Su Jiahui and the others climbed up in surprise. It's just a remnant soul. Sita Muyang climbed up. There was blood in his mouth. He was in a sorry state. His old injuries had not healed, and now there were new injuries. The figure appeared and looked at Su Yi. It was as if he was not suppressed by Su Yi's Origin Supreme technique. His eyes were empty, but his aura was powerful. He pounced towards Su Yi. Chapter 467. Su Yi's eyes turned solemn. This remnant soul was too strong, far stronger than those beast-shaped remnant souls. Su Yi had just suffered a heavy blow. More importantly, this remnant soul could attack the soul force in his mind. If it weren't for Su Yi's heavenly origin demon soul, his injuries would have been even more serious. Boom! The remnant soul did not stop and continued to attack. Su-yi gritted his teeth and made his move. The art of primordial chaos was pushed to the extreme, and the wrath of 8 desolations was activated. The remnant soul did not seem to have much intelligence, but it was left with the most instinctive desire to kill. Its empty eyes flashed with killing intent, and it also kicked at Su-yi. The two collided, and the tunnel rumbled. Light shone brightly, and an energy storm swept out. Ding ding. A terrifying aura swept out, causing Sita Muyang, Su Jiahui, and the others to stagger back. Su-yi was once again pushed back. His right foot was numb, and the blood in his body was in turmoil. Oh, around the tunnel, there were still large numbers of beast-shaped remnant souls roaring and rioting. These beast-shaped remnant souls were like real things, but when they felt the aura on Su-yi's body, they did not dare to approach. They only entrenched themselves in the distance and roared, causing one's heart to tremble. Boom! The remnant soul continued to attack, and its aura covered the sky. It was like a torrential flood in the tunnel. The light was blazing, and the tunnel shook. The muffled sound was like thunder. Su-yi's face changed. He had no choice but to use all his strength. The art of primordial chaos was pushed to the extreme, and he activated the Overlord Fist. Rumble, such a collision made the tunnel seem like it was about to explode. The surrounding light was dazzling, like a rising sun sweeping out in all directions. Puff! Su-yi finally could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood, and his figure flew out. The remnant soul arrived in an instant. Its eyes were blood red, and a vast aura enveloped Su-yi. It was all-pervasive, and it rushed into Su-yi's mind. This aura was ferocious and brutal, as if it wanted to devour everything, including souls. It was also at this moment that light suddenly fluctuated within Su-yi's mind. A crimson-red light suddenly rose and surged, and it shook the surroundings before transforming into resplendent rays of light that were dazzling and resplendent like a small sun. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the aura in Su-yi's mind rose and fell like ripples. It carried a domineering and majestic aura, as if it could suppress the primeval times and look down upon the world with disdain. This was the heavenly origin demon soul in Su-yi's mind. It was as dazzling as the sun, and a kind of divine radiance pervaded the air, emitting waves of fluctuations. At this instant, it was as if a mysterious force had passed through time and space and descended from the primeval times, and it rumbled in Su-yi's mind. At this instant, in the blink of an eye, the bloody eyes of the remnant soul in the outside world suddenly turned pale with fright, and incomparable shock and fear surged out. It retreated rapidly at the first possible moment, as if it had seen a ghost. Ka-ka! Suddenly, for some unknown reason, the passage cracked. A crack appeared in front of them, and a bright light burst out like an exit. From the exit, rich energy of heaven and earth filled the air, accompanied by an ancient aura that seemed to have been sealed for tens of thousands of years. It suddenly emerged, shocking everyone. Quick, that's the exit. Get out quickly. When he felt the aura, Su-yi's pale face flashed with joy, and he immediately shouted. Su Jiahui, Situ Muyang, and the others went out. Whoosh, whoosh, one by one. The figures rushed towards the exit with all their might without any regard for their own safety. As the figures rushed out, they were met with an ancient aura, as if an ancient land that no one had set foot in for tens of thousands of years had opened. A rich energy of heaven and earth immediately rippled and enveloped everyone. Everything inside was unknown, and everyone rushed out in a panic. They were also secretly on guard, and their vitality was circulating in their meridians. Feeling the rich energy and ancient aura, everyone's eyes lit up and their eyes narrowed. Then, everything became clear. This was a forest, a real, primeval forest. The mountains were high, and the forest was dense. The mountains were tall and majestic. The towering trees stood tall, and the vines circled around like dragons entrenched. When the wind blew, the trees fell, and it was like a hurricane in the sea. In an instant, waves surged, and rumbling sounds could be heard. Everyone was a little dumbfounded. This place was like a paradise, and the energy of heaven and earth was very rich. Su Yi's face was solemn, and the exit behind him had mysteriously disappeared. Vigilant of his surroundings, Su Yi stuffed a healing elixir into his mouth and secretly refined it to heal his injuries. The energy of heaven and earth in the surroundings was even richer than on the sky sword peak. Su Yi secretly probed with his mind, and his soul force spread out, not daring to be careless. Walala, in the air, a rich energy rushed towards him. Su Yi took a careful sniff of the scent in the air. It vaguely revealed an ancient and heavy scent. There are herbs. Su Yi asked about the smell of herbs. Head here. During this period of time, Su Yi often dealt with herbs, and the smell in the air could not escape Su Yi's nose. There were definitely herbs nearby. Be careful. The energy under his feet surged, and Su Yi's figure swept out, looking for herbs. Soon, Su Yi found the herbs. Damn, so many herbs and even spiritual herbs. Sita Myong's eyes lit up. In front of him, Su Yi did not find one herb, but a large pile. There were hundreds of purple jade orchids in the pile, and they were lush and filled with light. This was the main ingredient for refining the purple jade origin spirit pill, a high-tier celestial medicinal pill. Purple jade orchids were among the ingredients in many star-grade elixirs. Purple jade orchids had the effect of strengthening one's energy and stabilizing one's cultivation, and their value was shocking. And this was not just one purple jade orchids, but a large pile with hundreds of them. This is a good place. Su Yi was overjoyed, and his eyes were already emitting a red light. There was no reason for him to be polite, and he immediately began to collect and uproot them carefully for fear of damaging them. The Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others helped, and Su Yi also specially reminded them not to damage the purple jade orchids. Then, Su Yi unceremoniously put the purple jade orchids that everyone collected into his space bag. Ice grass, blazing flower, spirit velvet chrysanthemum, 7-star immortal orchid, blood dragon ginseng, clear lotus mysterious yang fruit. Then, in this ancient forest, Su Yi found a large number of herbs. There was no lack of spiritual herbs, and some of them were in large patches. I'm rich. I'm really rich now. Gosh, this is a treasure land. I'm rich now. Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, Tan Xiao, and the others followed Su Yi, and along the way they had gained a lot of knowledge, but now that they saw so many herbs and spiritual herbs, they could not help but exclaim. There were too many of them. Chapter 468. Some of the herbs were still growing, and harvesting them in advance would not have much effect. However, Su Yi did not let them go. His goal was to transplant all of these herbs into the mysterious space and sell them when they matured. KMO shined. Chapter TB Supra Carat Dollar Su. He couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement when he thought about how the pile of medicinal herbs would mature and even transform into spiritual herbs. Sure enough, riches and honor came from danger. Although no one had set foot in this ancient forest, and there were herbs everywhere, Su Yi and the rest did not let down their guard. They were very careful. This ancient forest was huge, but they could not ride the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon. This was because there was a thick fog high up in the sky, making it impossible to see anything. They could only travel through the forest. The air in the forest was fresh, and the fragrance of herbs filled the air. Occasionally, there would be some low-level savage beasts passing by. When they saw Su Yi and the rest, they were like frightened rabbits, not daring to stay. Be careful, there seems to be savage beasts around. Using his soul power, Su Yi also sensed the aura of some savage beasts. The aura was not ordinary and very powerful, so he reminded everyone to be careful. No one had set foot in this ancient forest, and it should have formed a world of its own. There should be living creatures here. Under the rich energy of heaven and earth, Su-yi guessed that there must be experts here. Whoosh! On a towering tree, Su-yi leaped up and landed on the crown of the tree. He glanced around, wanting to know how big this tree was. The battlefield of 10,000 swords is mysterious. Even the experts of Shenzhen Gate did not discover this place. It must be even more special. Be careful. Situmyong also landed on top of the tree and stood beside Su-yi. They looked around and reminded Su-yi. Su-yi nodded. They did not know how big this ancient forest was. Although Su-yi and the rest could not ride the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon, they were still cultivators. Using their Yuan Qi, even Lu Ji and the rest were not too slow. Roar! An hour later, they finally encountered a barbaric beast in front of a dazzling spiritual herb. This was a strange beast. Even Situ Muyang did not recognize it, but its cultivation level was almost at the demon true realm. Fortunately, Su-yi used the primeval origin supreme technique. Under the domineering and destructive pressure, the barbaric beast didn't dare to approach and retreated. However, this also caused Su-yi, Situ Muyang, and the others to suck in a breath of cold air. Once a barbaric beast that was close to the true demon realm started fighting, no one would be a match for it. After encountering a barbaric beast, Su-yi and the others had no choice but to be even more cautious. In the next 4 hours, everyone discovered quite a number of spiritual herbs, but they also encountered more and more barbaric demonic beasts. Some of them were obviously in the demon spirit realm, but they were all wary of Su-yi's aura. They stared at him from afar, but didn't approach. Did you notice that there are more and more barbaric beasts? Their auras are getting stronger, but they're all getting closer. Su Jiahui said as she looked around. Her eyes were filled with astonishment. She had discovered something strange. Hearing Huang Xiaolong's words, Su-yi and Sitamuyang looked around carefully. There were barbaric beasts that didn't dare to approach. However, those barbaric beasts didn't stay too far away. Instead, they were all heading in the same direction. Su Jiahui also discovered something strange. After all, women are more meticulous, and this has nothing to do with strength. Strange. Su-yi stopped in his tracks and furrowed his brows. Coincidentally, they were heading in the same direction as the nearby wild beasts. That was why Su Jiahui had noticed the peculiarity. What's wrong with them? Sitamuyang asked. Just as he was looking around, he suddenly realized that the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat were already in front of them. They didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. What's wrong with you guys? Su-yi was surprised and asked loudly. However, the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. It was as if they didn't hear Su-yi's words. Something's wrong. Su-yi's expression changed. Yuan Qi surged under his feet. His figure suddenly dashed forward and appeared in front of the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat. The Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat were calm. When they saw Su-yi, they immediately avoided Su-yi and continued to move forward. Their footsteps were surprisingly in sync with the other barbaric beasts. They seemed to be affected by something. Sitamuyang rushed to Su-yi's side. He looked at the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the two barbaric beasts that brushed past Su-yi with a serious expression. Wake up! Su-yi's eyes darkened. The Supreme Origin Technique surged and mixed with Yuan Qi. He shouted at the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat. Boom! The aura shook the surroundings and the void also rumbled. The airwaves fluctuated and reverberated in the ancient forest. Oh, my lord! The wolf-headed demonic bat and the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon's eyes trembled. They turned around, and the undetectable red light in their eyes dissipated. They immediately recovered from the shock, and their bodies were trembling. What's going on? Su-yi asked. I don't know. I feel like something is summoning me. It's a very strange feeling. It's like something is summoning me from the front. The wolf-headed demonic bat and the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon replied with lingering fear. They didn't seem to know what happened just now. They only remembered that something was summoning them from the front. Are you guys being controlled? Su-yi asked as he sensed the situation of the other barbaric beasts he had encountered along the way. It seemed like the profound sun golden demon falcon and the wolf head demonic bat were secretly controlled by something. It's not exactly like being controlled. It's a kind of summoning. There's a pressure and the aura is very terrifying. It's like being summoned by an emperor of the demonic beasts. We can't resist. The wolf-headed demonic bat and the Xianyang golden demon falcon shared what they felt just now. They didn't know what happened just now, but they felt like they weren't completely under control. Situ Muyang, Su Jiehui, and the rest didn't understand the beast language. Su-yi told them what the wolf-headed demonic bat and the Xianyang golden demon falcon said, so that they could be more careful. It's very strange. Something must have happened up ahead. Situ Muyang said, I'm afraid it's very dangerous up ahead. Zhang Qing said with lingering fear. The wolf-headed demonic bat was at the peak of the 5th level of the demon spirit realm. Even was unknowingly affected and almost got controlled. What would happen to them? Something must have happened up ahead. I'll go take a look. Everyone be careful. Su-yi pondered for a moment. Since they're already here, there's no reason for them not to go take a look. Let's go. I also want to see what's inside. Situ Muyang said as he rubbed his palms together. His eyes were shining brightly on his youthful face that had a hint of seniority. This fella is getting bolder. Looking at Situ Muyang, Su Jiehui, Zhang Qing, and the rest felt helpless. During this period of time, they could clearly feel that Situ Muyang had been completely assimilated by Su-yi. Chapter 469. Be careful. Don't get too close. Retreat immediately if anything goes wrong. Su-yi reminded Su Jiehui, Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the rest with a heavy heart. Su Jiehui and the rest were still too weak. Su-yi knew that he wouldn't be able to take care of them if there was danger ahead. However, Su Jiehui and the rest were also afraid of danger. Thus, they could only follow along. Understood. We will take care of ourselves. Su Jiehui, Zhang Qing, and the rest nodded. They knew that they were relying on Su-yi's protection along the way. During this period of time, their desire to become stronger grew stronger. In the past, they wanted to become experts and inner disciples. It was mostly for their family and family. They wanted their family to live a better life and bring glory to their family. However, during this period of time, they became more and more aware that they must become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can they become truly powerful. They also realized how small their goal was in the past. Without any hesitation, they tapped the ground with the tip of their feet and rushed out with their yuan qi. They rushed in the direction of the surrounding brute demon beasts. Swoosh, swoosh, the sound of wind breaking could be heard. Su-yi and Situ Muyang were in front. Su-yi also ordered the Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf head demonic bat to guard the back. There's indeed a strange aura. After passing through a few mountains, Su-yi finally felt a strange aura. The aura was hot and contained a kind of pressure. It spread throughout the ancient forest. The number of brute demon beasts they encountered increased. They were all slowly moving forward, similar to the Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf head demonic bat. When the brute demon beasts sensed the aura from Su-yi, they didn't attack. Instead, they avoided him and continued moving forward. Strange. These brute demon beasts seemed to be of a higher level. Situ Muyang noticed that most of the barbaric beasts they encountered were at the demon true realm. There were very few demon spirit realm barbaric beasts. As for profound demon realm barbaric beasts, there were almost none. Logically speaking, if there was really something controlling these barbaric beasts, it should be the lower the cultivation of the barbaric beasts, the greater the influence. However, Situ Muyang didn't see any low-level brute demon beasts in the surroundings, which made him feel strange. Su-yi did not stop walking. He looked around carefully and pondered to himself. Suddenly, he said, perhaps the higher the cultivation level of the barbaric beast, the greater the effect. Is that really the case? Situ Muyang remained skeptical, but he didn't feel that anything was wrong. This ancient forest was mysterious and strange. Nothing was impossible. In the ancient forest, the sound of wind breaking resounded. At least, it was difficult for him to achieve this step. One had to know that the elders who had guided him since young were not ordinary people. If that elder knew that an outer disciple of the Shinjian had surpassed him in the control of the wind attribute and the control of Yuan Qi, it would be strange if that elder did not give him a good beating. Secretly smacking his lips, Sita Muyang's feet also surged with Yuan Qi. Sita Muyang wanted to secretly compete with Su Yi. He leaped into the air and landed beside Su Yi. Hula! The branches under his feet trembled slightly. Sita Muyang's eyes secretly showed some helplessness. It was obvious that even if Sita Muyang deliberately did it, he was still slightly inferior. "It's over there." Su Yi's voice passed into Sita Muyang's ears. Following Su Yi's gaze, Sita Muyang put away the little thoughts in his heart and looked forward. The front seemed to have walked out of this ancient forest, or it could be said that the front was already the center of this ancient forest. A large expanse of flat land appeared, surrounded by a huge mountain in the middle. This mountain was incomparably huge and filled with a scarlet radiance. The blazing aura of the entire ancient forest seemed to be spreading out from this vast area. Chapter 470. Su Yi stared at the enormous mountain in front of him. Scarlet red light shrouded it, and he was unable to clearly see its appearance. However, Su Yi could clearly feel the vast and mighty pressure radiating from within the incomparably hot aura. Su Yi's gaze was fixed on the gigantic mountain. An unconcealable look of joy appeared on his face. His instincts were telling Su Yi that the opportunity to search for treasures within the ancient forest should be within that mountain. There must be some sort of treasure within. Will there be any treasures within? Sita Muyang was sweating profusely as he panted heavily. He could sense that there might be treasures and opportunities ahead as well. There should be. Su Yi smiled faintly, the corners of his mouth lifting. By the looks of it, there must be some sort of opportunity or treasure within. And it must be something extraordinary as well. Then we gotta be careful. Places with opportunities are usually filled with danger. Sita Muyang said cautiously. "Woo!" Before Sita Muyang could even finish his words, the roars of beasts rang out from all directions. One by one, barbaric beasts walked out from the ancient forest and headed towards that gigantic mountain. Su Yi and Sita Muyang looked down from above. The eyes of those barbaric beasts were red. Their bodies were shrouded in mist, and they shone brightly. It was as though they were vaporized by that scorching aura. Gradually, they walked into the gigantic mountain and disappeared into the light. There were even flying beasts that flapped their wings and flew towards the mountain as well. One by one, these barbaric beasts were beasts of the ancient forest. Their cultivation states were not low. More than half of them were at demon truth state. Without any hesitation, they walked towards the mountain. It's very strange. Even though there might be opportunities and treasures ahead, Sita Muyang could not help but feel goosebumps all over his body. Everything was weird and filled with the fear of the unknown. Awoo! Suddenly, the roars of beasts rang out from below. The Xinyan Golden Demon Falcon and the Wolf Headbat leader were howling. Unknowingly, the two beasts were affected once more. Their eyes turned red once more as they flew towards the mountain. **T. Su Yi frowned. Spreading out the energy wings behind his back, he soared into the skies and blocked the two beasts. "Back off!" Su Yi hollered out, imbued with the aura of the supreme mixed yuan technique. "Sir!" The two beasts recovered once more, trembling all over. "The pressure over there is way too strong. There's an extraordinary aura of the demon race." The wolf-headed bat leader and the Xinyan Golden Demonic Falcon both informed Su Yi that there was an unusual demonic aura in the mountain ahead. That demonic aura made them feel reverence and fear, causing their hearts to palpitate. That aura seems to have the greatest effect on the barbaric demon beasts. Su Yi furrowed his brows. No wonder the barbarian beasts were the ones who were affected the most. Zhang Qing, Su Jiahui, and the others weren't affected. But Su Yi could feel the aura of the demon race as well. It was oppressive. It was only because he had the supreme mixed yuan technique that he could resist against it. Su even had a feeling that something was calling out to him from that faint aura. All of you back off. I'll go check it out. Su Yi did not hesitate as he looked at the mountain shrouded in crimson light and giving off a scorching aura. Since he had already come this far, there was no reason for him to turn back now. Every opportunity and destiny had its dangers. The path of martial cultivation was all about finding a chance to survive amidst the dangers. This was the price to pay. I'll go too. Situ Muyang's figure soared through the skies. He had already activated his Wind Rider battlesuit. He did not want to back off either. It was not easy for him to enter this place. Naturally, he could not miss this opportunity. Besides, Situ Muyang came to the battlefield of 10,000 swords to train himself. He also hoped that he could find some opportunities in the battlefield of 10,000 swords. Su Yi nodded. This was the battlefield of 10,000 swords of Xinjian Gate. Situ Muyang was the son of a Xinjian Gate's sect master. He could not possibly stop him from searching for treasures in his own territory. As for the danger, he was not confident. It all depended on his luck. When Situ Muyang saw Su Yi nodding his head, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. His childish and handsome face did not show any carelessness. The wings on his back flapped slightly, and his figure landed on the ground. With a tap of his feet, he slowly flew forward. Everything in front of him was unknown. He could not even see what was inside the crimson light. It was safer to walk on the ground. Seeing this, Su Yi retracted the Yuan Qi wings on his back and landed on the ground. His body flew towards the mountain. As for the Xianyang golden demonic falcon, the wolf-headed demonic bat leader, Zhang Qing, and Su Jiahui, they could only wait in the distance. That terrifying aura was not something they could approach. Just the presence of the scorching aura was enough to make Su Jiahui and the rest break out in cold sweat. Their skin was burning, and they could not endure it any longer. The ground was scarlet red and cracked. Fine powder flew everywhere the soles of his feet touched. It was as if everything in the surroundings was destroyed by the scorching aura. The aura in front of them was getting more and more terrifying. The aura contained within the scorching aura was also getting more and more obvious. WJT flying beasts and barbaric beasts walked out from the surroundings. They were all in the demon true realm and demon spirit realm. However, those barbaric beasts did not pay attention to Su Yi and Situ Muyang. They sensed Su Yi's aura and instinctively avoided him. The aura is too terrifying. Large droplets of sweat dripped down from Situ Muyang's Imperial Wind battlesuit. The scorching aura could not be blocked. Situ Muyang's Imperial Wind battlesuit felt as if it was about to catch fire. Su Yi also felt the scorching aura. Even his diamond body was starting to feel strained. Fortunately, when he cultivated the first stage of the mixed Yuan demon body, the diamond body, he had to use the earth core fire to temper his body. This made Su Yi feel much better. Furthermore, Su Yi had been circulating the mixed Yuan Supreme technique. It had an invisible resistance against the scorching aura. Therefore, Su Yi was much more relaxed than Situ Muyang. Why do you look fine? You're so sick. However, when Situ Muyang saw this, he was secretly shocked. He felt that Su Yi was even more terrifying. He was simply sick. One had to know that under the scorching aura, he could not withstand it even with the Imperial Wind battlesuit. The two of them walked slowly and finally entered the Scarlet Radiance. Dazzling radiance spread out. The radiance was like a flame, emitting visible fluctuations. Be careful, Su Yi reminded Situ Muyang. He felt that the aura within the Scarlet Radiance was getting stronger. The aura of the demon race was getting denser. Kacha! A cracking sound came from under their feet. The two of them looked carefully and found that there were beast bones. The beast bones had been completely roasted. When they stepped on them, they instantly turned into dust. So many beast bones. Chapter 471. That is, Suyi's gaze froze. The moment the flying beasts entered the crimson light, their bodies froze in midair. Their eyes were filled with reverence and submission. It was as if everything had stopped. Then, from the inside of their bodies, a tiny flame spread out and turned into the bones of the beasts. Walala, the flesh and blood essence on the bones were burned into a crimson mist and merged with the surrounding light. Then the bones fell to the ground. On the ground, the same thing happened to the barbaric demon beasts. When the barbaric demon beasts entered the crimson light, they froze. Their eyes were filled with reverence and submission. Flames spread out from their bodies, burning their flesh and blood essence until only the bones were left. The bones gradually dried up under the scorching aura. At this moment, Su, Yi, and Sitimuyang finally saw it clearly. The huge mountain in front of them was not a real mountain. It was a huge mountain made up of countless beast bones. It stood tall in the ancient forest. The densely packed beast bones piled up into a mountain. The number of barbaric demon beasts that died would be a huge number. These barbaric demon beasts seemed to have come to destroy themselves. Their eyes were filled with reverence and submission. They did not resist at all and came forward to burn their flesh and blood. Huff huff! Su, Yi, and Sitimuyang could not help but look at each other. They sucked in a breath of cold air and could not help but have the urge to swallow their saliva. All of this made Shang, Yi, and Sitimuyang's hair stand on end and goosebumps appear all over their bodies. Su Yi finally understood. It was no wonder that the ancient forest was a world of its own. It was rich in heaven and earth energy, and there were many elixirs and ancient barbaric demon beasts. Logically speaking, after a long period of time, terrifying demon clan experts should have appeared. However, the appearance of this terrifying mountain of beast bones specifically attracted the barbaric demon beasts to come forward and burn their flesh and blood. It was impossible for a demon true realm and demon spirit realm barbaric demon beast to escape, let alone continue to grow. No wonder there were no demon clan experts in this ancient forest despite all the conditions. It's too strange. There seems to be a mysterious force controlling these barbaric beasts, using their flesh and blood as fertilizer. Sitimuyang's eyesight was not bad, and he saw some clues. There was a mysterious force that targeted the barbaric beasts. It was controlling the barbaric beasts to burn their bones and flesh as if they were fertilizer. Hearing this, Su Yi nodded slightly. He felt the same way and had to continue to be more careful. This place was really strange and terrifying. If he wasn't careful, he was afraid that he would stay here and become some kind of fertilizer. Be careful! Sitimuyang cried out in alarm. Suddenly, above Su Yi's head, a scarlet ray of light descended like a bolt of lightning. Everything happened too quickly and without a sound. Even Su Yi didn't notice. Whoosh! A storm swept out, and a bright white light surged out. However, the scarlet ray of light covered the white light and blocked in front of Su Yi. Bang! Latest percent new 1 chapter, part 1. A dull sound came from above Su Yi's head. Puffed! Blood was spat out, and a bright white figure flew out like a kite with a broken string. It passed through the scarlet ray of light and smashed into the ground far behind. Bang! Dust flew everywhere, and a sandstorm was raised. Sitimuyang blocked the attack for Su Yi, but he was also sent flying. At the same time, rays of light began to erupt from the mountain of beast bones in front of them. Rays of scarlet red light burst out from the enormous mountain like thunderbolts from the inside out. It was one of the bursts of light that sent Sitimuyang flying just now. Rumble! The entire mountain of beast bones began to shake, and a scarlet divine light erupted. Gradually, thousands of rays of light danced in the air. Tens of thousands of rays of light soared into the sky, drowning the surroundings, and also dispersing the scarlet light that originally enveloped the surroundings. Layers of beast bones slid down from the mountain, and as they rolled, they turned into fine powder and danced in the air. accompanied by the bright rays of light. It looked like an earth-shattering sandstorm, like a scarlet tsunami rolling up from the deep sea. Su Yi's eyes were dazed. At this moment, his body seemed to be frozen. He stared at the shaking mountain of beast bones, where a wave of pressure was spreading out. The degree of pressure made Su Yi, who was operating the supreme Immortal technique, feel that the yuan qi in his body was blocked. It began to heat up and was about to boil. What a terrifying pressure! Su Yi's heart trembled, and he couldn't help but feel his hair stand on end. Rumble! In just a moment, the huge mountain completely collapsed at an incomparably fast speed. Streaks of scarlet light, like thunder, spread out from the cracks, as if the heavens were falling and the earth was splitting. Raging waves rose up, and the entire ancient forest was trembling. Oh my God! Su Jiehui, Zhang Qing, and the others who were watching from afar were dumbfounded, and their hair stood on end. The entire mountain of beast bones was cracking, as if it was going to fall apart. All the beast bones were blasted apart, turning into fine powder that covered the sky and earth, like a sandstorm that swept out in all directions. Bright rays of light and flame spread out, illuminating this ancient land, accompanied by multicolored light. Buzz, buzz! The sound of wind and thunder resounded in the void, emitting a series of sonorous sounds. Coo! At this moment, there was a cry that pierced through the clouds and cracked stones. It was as if a divine bird had transcended the primordial era, and the sound waves penetrated the ears, mysterious and terrifying, causing one's heart to tremble. Swish! Streaks of scarlet flames rushed out and swept toward Su Yi, enveloping Su Yi. There was no way for him to dodge. Boom! Su Yi condensed a yuan qi light shield, shook his arm. At the same time, the Overlord fist blocked a thunderous explosion of flames in front of him. Hula! Under this punch, Su Yi's fist crackled, and flames spread out, emitting intense pain. At the same time, another scarlet light like thunder appeared on Su Yi's shoulder, rushing out a deep wound on Su Yi's shoulder. Su Yi's wound instantly revealed eerie white bones, and blood flowed out. Within the light and thunder, there seemed to be a terrifying aura that wanted to burn Su Yi's flesh and bones into ashes and devour his vitality. Boom! Su Yi spat out a mouthful of blood, and his expression changed greatly. The supreme origin technique in his body was circulated to the extreme. A domineering and destructive aura rushed out, and Su Yi's body surged with scarlet light. Only then did he break free from the mysterious power and break free from the shackles. But even so, Su Yi was also sent flying by the huge force. He spat out blood and smashed into the ground, rushing out dozens of feet and smashing into the dust. Su Yi immediately struggled to get up, but his body staggered. The bloody hole in his shoulder was horrifying, and blood flowed out endlessly. Chapter 472. My Lord, Boss Su Yi. From afar, the Xianyang Golden Demon Falcon, Su Jiehui, Zhang Qing, and the others couldn't care less as they gritted their teeth and rushed out after seeing Su Yi and Sita Muyang being blasted away. Quick, take the pill. Su Yi immediately threw the pill in his hand to Sita Muyang and stuffed it into his mouth. Su Yi was a little surprised. Sita Muyang did not hesitate to attack without any consideration. Otherwise, he would be in a very miserable state. After taking the pill, Su Yi circulated his energy. Blood was still flowing from his shoulder, but soon a red light gushed out from the wound and flickered. Su Yi's wound began to stop bleeding, and the wound also began to heal at a slow speed. This was the effect of the diamond body. Su Yi was rapidly healing. On the other side, Sita Muyang did not have such an abnormal body like Su Yi. Sita Muyang took the pill, but it did not take effect immediately. Sita Muyang's body swayed. His injuries were too serious. The Imperial Wind battle armor on his body was broken, the light dimmed, and his wings were damaged. Wolf-headed Bat Demon Falcon, Mystic Sun Golden Demon Falcon, Zhang Qing, and Su Jiahui rushed forward, but before they could get close to Su, Yi, and the wolf-headed bat demon falcon, their eyes suddenly changed, and their footsteps stopped. Su, Yi, and Situ Muyang also felt it, and suddenly raised their heads and looked forward. In the light, the cracked mountain of beast bones was completely broken, as if a huge monster was awakening. When the beast bones turned into powder, the red light was blazing, and the outline of an incomparably huge beast skeleton was revealed. This was an incomparably huge bird skeleton, at least a few hundred feet or even bigger. When it spread its wings, it was as if it was moving the entire ancient forest. This was just the surface area of the skeleton. If it was a real demon beast, how huge would it be? Boom! Boundless crimson light erupted, and crimson flames rained down from the void, almost drowning half of the sky. The ground around them split open, and ravines were everywhere. Rocks collapsed, creating a horrifying scene. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, the sky above the ancient forest was filled with resplendent rays of light. Divine light covered the sky densely and covered the sky. The radiance was boundless, and the sound of wind and thunder resounded incessantly. It was as if a god had come into being, and it emitted waves of sounds of worship. The entire ancient forest was boiling with an ancient aura. It was as if everything had suddenly returned to the ancient times. Oh, unspecified currency cool, JH Craftsman M Network. Young 8Ju free 3V fee B look underscore. Little dollar say B above the firmament. The silhouettes of enormous beasts appeared amidst the boundless light. Those were all ancient vicious beasts. They disappeared in a flash, appearing from a void, and then immediately disappearing. Su, Yi, Sitamuyang, and Su Jiahui were all dumbfounded. Everyone was dumbstruck. This was too shocking. Cool. The enormous beast bone was completely revealed. Radiance filled the air, and it emitted a golden radiance. The radiance was as resplendent as the clouds, and it emitted a hissing sound that pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks. It shocked the heaven and earth. At the same time, the beast bone seemed to have come to life. It was squirming, and the light burst out, shaking the sky. Mists rose in all directions, and the multicolored light was dazzling. It was as if the heaven and earth were being reopened, affecting the universe. Suddenly, the mists and multicolored light merged on the beast bone, and finally formed an incomparably huge beast silhouette that shrouded the beast bone. The two were seamless, as if the beast bone had truly come to life and awakened. Coo! Such a sound shocked the heavens. That was a divine bird that looked like a phoenix. It spread its wings and was suffused with crimson flames. It looked disdainfully at the world, and it was shrouded in mist and chaos. Its terrifying aura was extremely shocking. This beast silhouette was too big. It was like a divine bird that had transcended the ancient times. It was boundless, connecting the heaven and earth, and its wings covered this part of the firmament. The beast silhouette was vivid and lifelike. Its crimson eyes seemed to contain two seas of fire, and like two blazing suns, it stared at Su, Yi, and the others. This divine bird that looked like a divine bird was entrenched in the void of this heaven and earth. The shadows of the ancient beasts around it sank and disappeared in a flash. Everything was extremely shocking. Everyone was stunned. Situ Muyang, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others' eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. The Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf-headed bat leader were already prostrating on the ground, trembling for some unknown reason. Sui also did not recognize such a huge beast. It looked like the legendary divine bird phoenix, but it seemed unlikely. The divine bird phoenix was the supreme demonic beast in the legends, the emperor of the birds. It no longer existed in this world. It was buried in the distant ancient times, or even during the ancient times. This huge beast was like a phoenix. Its pressure was impressive, overlooking the heaven and earth, suppressing millions of lives. Sui could feel this terrifying pressure. Although he had never seen the divine bird phoenix before, The level of this divine bird was probably not much lower than the legendary phoenix. Heavens, is this a phoenix? Does the phoenix still exist in this world? Sita Muyang exclaimed. The divine bird looked down on all living things, looking down on the heaven and earth. Its appearance in this ancient forest made him tremble all over. He could not help but want to kneel down. Phoenix, is this really a phoenix? Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others trembled. They had only heard of the divine bird phoenix from legends. The divine bird phoenix had been buried in the ancient times, or even the ancient times. It no longer existed in this world, disappearing in the long river of time. At this moment, the appearance of such a divine bird phoenix shocked Su Yi, Sita Muyang, and the others. When the divine bird shadow appeared, the entire heaven and earth became incomparably hot. It started to spread its wings, and a torrential flame swept out in all directions. Its killing intent was monstrous, and it wanted to destroy everything. Walala, in an instant, the raging flames swept out in all directions, destroying everything in its path. It was enough to incinerate all living things. The surrounding barbaric beasts that were charging forward without a care for their own safety were turned into ashes in an instant. They were unstoppable. The moment the scorching aura fluctuated, Su Yi's heavenly origin demon soul in his mind also felt agitated. It sensed danger in the depths of his soul, and his heart palpitated. Come in quick. There was no time for hesitation. Everything happened in a flash. Su Yi had no choice. He quickly changed his hand seals and immediately activated the mysterious space in his mind. At this moment, Su Yi felt his heart palpitating. Those barbaric beasts of the demon true realm were turned into ashes without even being affected. Su Yi was not confident that he could stop it. He could only place his hopes on the mysterious space. As for Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, and the others, it was even worse. Once they were engulfed by the terrifying flames, they would be turned into ashes in an instant. Multicolored light spread out, rippling with divine radiance. In an instant, it enveloped Su Yi, Sita Muyang, Su Jiahui, and the others. The torrential flames, along with the oppressive aura, engulfed the multicolored light and divine radiance. Whoosh whoosh. Chapter 473. The surrounding spiritual energy was dense and oppressive. The surroundings were hazy and radiant, as if space was isolated. Sita Muyang, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, and the others were still in shock. When they saw the sudden change and looked around, they were shocked and stunned, as if they were petrified. Oh! The mystic sun golden demonic falcon and the wolf-headed bat leader suddenly prostrated themselves on the ground. They were even more shocked than when they encountered the terrifying aura of the divine bird just now. The terrifying flames burned everything, as if a sea of fire had set off shocking waves. The huge divine bird spread its wings and covered the sky. The flames swept past and slowly dissipated, revealing a divine radiance. It was as if a bright moon had descended. The radiance was slow and steady, neither increasing nor decreasing. The divine bird's shadow spread its wings, and flames billowed. It stared at the divine radiance with its two eyes that were like a sea of fire. Then, the divine bird's shadow spread its wings like a living creature. It lowered its wings as if it was bowing to the mysterious space, and its eyes were filled with awe. Coo! With a piercing shriek, the huge divine bird disappeared, along with the rolling flames and terrifying aura around it. It was as if it had never appeared in the first place. In the empty area, only the huge divine bird skeleton was left. If it were not for the red surroundings and the residual heat in the air, it would be as if everything was just an illusion. The land regained its tranquility, and there was no longer the terrifying aura from before. Time had lost its meaning in this place. Only the huge divine bird skeleton was left, lying alone in this ancient land. In the mysterious space, Su Yi's expression was extremely solemn. The supreme origin technique in his body was constantly circulating, refining the elixirs and healing his injuries. His mind and soul were spread out, trying to detect the movements in the outside world. Although the outside world was separated by the mysterious space, and he could not detect the movements in the outside world, he could at least feel some of the aura. Square root C dash. Original chapter on T3 Cool. Hashtag Craftsman C Network. Where is this? How do we get here? What a rich energy of heaven and earth. What is this place? Oh my God, there's so many elixirs. Mystical spiritual fruit. It's the mystical spiritual tree. Why is the mystical spiritual tree here? Situ Miang, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, Lu Ji, Wang Fan, and Tan Chao were still in shock, and their faces were frozen. Stay here. Remember, don't act rashly. Take this spiritual liquid to heal your injuries. Su, he didn't have time to speak to Situ Muyang, Su Jiahui, and the others. And Sui, Situ Muyang, Situ Muyang's S, and then his figure disappeared. Where is he? Looking at Su Yi's sudden disappearance, Su Jiahui, Zhang Qing, Situ Muyang, and the others were dumbfounded once again. When Su Yi appeared again, the mysterious space had also disappeared. Su Yi sensed that the aura outside seemed to have returned to normal, so he came out to check the situation. When Su Yi sensed that everything had returned to normal, he retracted the mysterious space. In the face of that terrifying destructive power, Su Yi had chosen to enter the mysterious space. There was nothing else he could do. It was his last resort. The mysterious ball of light in his mind was very mysterious, and he could only pin his hopes on it. Fortunately, Su Yi made the right bet. On his pale face, Su Yi's eyes scanned the surroundings. The heat in the air disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Only the huge skeleton of the mythical bird was left. What kind of mythical bird is this? Su Yi stared at the humongous skeleton from afar. It was like a mountain in front of his eyes. Standing in front of the skeleton, he could feel how small and insignificant he was. Not daring to get close, Su Yi only looked at it from afar. From the skeleton, there was an invisible pressure spreading out. The more Su Yi looked at it, the more his heart trembled and palpitated for no reason. The empty eye sockets of the huge skeleton were incomparably deep, like two deep, pitch-black holes. When Su Yi looked at them, he felt as if something was calling out to him. Gritting his teeth, Su Yi stepped forward carefully, ready to escape into the mysterious space at any time. The closer they got to the enormous skeleton, the more they felt the invisible and frightening pressure disappear. Standing at the foot of the huge mythical bird skeleton, Su Yi looked up. It was as if he was facing a mountain. The skeleton was red, and it emitted a deep and ancient luster. If one did not look carefully, they would not be able to detect the light. This must be a treasure. Su Yi was sure that the skeleton of the mythical bird was a treasure. It was the most valuable treasure he had ever seen. Such a skeleton had an inexplicable temptation. Su Yi could not help but reach out to touch it. Swish! Suddenly, when Su Yi's hand touched the huge skeleton, two dazzling red lights burst out from the skeleton's hollow eye sockets. They shrouded Su Yi at a terrifying speed. Su Yi was shocked. It was too late for him to escape into the mysterious space. When the light shrouded him, Su Yi's eyes turned red. A scorching aura and a terrifying pressure instantly descended. Under the dazzling light, Su Yi felt dizzy. It was as if his eyes were filled with rolling flames. He could not help but squint. In the next moment, the scene in front of Su Yi changed. He appeared above a sea of fire. The flames were rolling, and the aura was scorching. It was vast and boundless, and the pressure was torrential. But at this moment, the scorching aura and pressure were completely different. The scorching aura and pressure did not suppress Su Yi. Instead, it gave Su Yi a sacred feeling. It was as comfortable as bathing in the spring breeze. Swish! The sea of fire surged, and there was light everywhere. The red light fluctuated and finally arranged itself. It rose and fell, and there was a faint sound of clanging. In the end, under Su Yi's astonished gaze. Within this boundless and exceedingly vast sea of flames, a divine bird silhouette that was exactly the same as before was condensed. It was incomparably enormous, and it covered the sky and covered the sun. This illusory figure was like a living creature. It flapped its wings slightly, and its eyes were like the sun. It was suppressing all living things and looking down on the world. Its pressure was at its peak. What's going on? He was shocked. He wanted to be on full alert, but he suddenly found that the yuan qi in his body could no longer circulate. Even the Origin Supreme technique did not have any reaction. You are a human, but you have the treasure of my clan. Your origin is extraordinary. Since you have such an opportunity, I will help you this once. Unfortunately, after being sealed in this place for so long, there is not much left of my body. It is becoming more and more difficult to support myself. This is also the reason why you can enter this place. Chapter 474. This voice, ancient and heavy, came from the mouth of the divine bird. The sonorous sound waves caused the sea of fire to undulate. Senior, Su Yi was surprised. Was this phoenix divine bird still alive? Don't interrupt me. I'm already powerless to answer any of your questions. How much benefit you're able to obtain will depend on yourself. Besides that, I'll give you a fortuitous encounter. Remember, you've received benefits from me. If you're able to reach that step in the future, then protect my clan. The ancient and heavy voice faintly faded. The huge divine bird phantom also became fainter and fainter. Finally, it disappeared into the sea of fire. Boom! At this moment, from the front of the sea of fire, in the direction where the huge divine bird phantom disappeared, a bright light swept out. This light was extremely small, but it was incomparably bright. In an instant, it arrived in front of Su Yi. The area reflected in Su Yi's eyes became larger and larger. Su Yi could see clearly that it was a drop of dark red blood. It was the size of a little thumb, but it was shining brightly. It was as if there was a phoenix's body flapping its wings. Its aura was terrifying. This drop of blood was incomparably strange. It was light and sacred. Immediately, it rushed into Su Yi's glabella. Oh, see, boom! When this drop of blood disappeared, the sea of fire in front of Su Yi also disappeared. It was as if he had fallen into a void space. Coo! The cry pierced the clouds and cracked the stones. In the vast and deep void space, the light was dazzling. A huge phoenix divine bird flapped its wings. Flames filled the sky. Its eyes were bright. It spread its wings and soared into the sky. Ah! Su Yi's mind also felt a sharp pain. It was as if a terrifying energy had rushed into Su Yi's mind. Su Yi's body also seemed to be filled with flames from the inside out. Under the sharp pain, Su Yi's expression changed greatly. Boom! Suddenly, at this moment, a terrifying aura spread out in Su Yi's mind. No one could see that at this moment, the faint red soul in Su Yi's mind seemed to be affected by something. It suddenly surged, and a terrifying aura spread out from the soul. Coo! A small shadow of a divine bird appeared in Su Yi's sea of consciousness. It was burning with raging flames, releasing a strong aura. Its ferocious eyes rippled as it stared at the red soul energy in Su Yi's sea of consciousness. In an instant, in Su Yi's mind, a faint red light fluctuated and shook the surroundings. It was as if a small sun was awakening, dazzling bright red light. When this small sun-like ball of light condensed, in an instant, the light was tens of thousands of zhong. 1 zhong equals 3m, and there were bursts of wind and thunder. It was as if it came from the ancient times. Awoo! In the sun-like ball of light, there were faint shadows of terrifying beasts appearing in Su Yi's mind. Some were like dragons, some were like phoenixes, some were huge and monstrous. Some covered the sky with their wings. Their eyes were as blazing as the sun, and some were as bright as the moon. Their roars were like thunder, sonorous and ear-splitting, as if they could shake the ancient times. These terrifying beast-like shadows flashed in Su Yi's mind. They appeared in the sun-like ball of light, emitting a bright radiance, but disappeared in an instant. But under that terrifying aura, it made people's minds numb and their hearts tremble. Ku! In Su Yi's mind, the mythical bird Su Yi screeched. Its eyes were fixed on the sun-like ball of light, and its eyes gradually became respectful. Then its body collapsed and turned into a red light. This red light was like a red flame, but it was as dazzling as the stars. It condensed towards the small sun, and then was absorbed by the small sun. At this moment, Su Yi, whose mind was in pain and his heart was in shock, could clearly feel that his soul power was increasing. This kind of enhancement even seemed to contain a special kind of power, as if it was causing his soul to awaken in a certain direction. Heaven origin demonic soul. Su Yi felt it and was shocked. This was the heaven origin demonic soul. The first level of the mixed yuan demonic body was the diamond body, and the second level was the heaven origin demonic soul. The first level of the mixed yuan demonic body was the diamond body. The second level of the heaven origin demonic soul was to absorb all kinds of souls and refine them with the mixed yuan supreme technique to strengthen and temper the soul. The heaven origin demonic soul carried the souls of all living beings to strengthen one's own soul. That drop of blood came from a mythical bird, and it contains the soul. So he thought, that drop of blood came from the mythical bird, and it contained the remnant soul of the mythical bird. The face in his mind just now was the remnant soul of the mythical bird. The heaven origin demonic soul carried the souls of all living beings to strengthen one's own soul. At this moment, it was the heaven origin demonic soul that was benefiting. Boom! The heaven origin demonic soul was absorbing the red light. Its aura was slowly burning, as if it was going to burn the soul. However, this burning sensation brought Su Yi's soul and mind an incomparable sense of comfort and satisfaction. It was filled with a domineering and majestic aura, as if it could suppress ancient times and look down on heaven and earth. Walala. Unknowingly, Su Yi felt as if something was flowing into his body. It was the same blazing heat that surged into his organs, bones, and muscles. It's all because of that drop of blood. Su Yi could feel that everything came from that drop of blood from the mythical bird. Su Yi didn't know where it was, but he had no choice. He immediately sat down cross-legged. At this moment, he could already operate the mixed yuan supreme technique to refine it. In the void, Su Yi's body was enveloped in a dazzling light, as if he was wrapped in red flames. The light intertwined, blazing like the sun. Buzz! Around Su Yi, the surrounding space trembled. A divine light spread out from his body, emitting waves of fluctuations. It was as if a mysterious force had crossed time and space, descending from ancient times. No, a drop of blood. This is a drop of blood essence. This is a mythical bird. Suddenly, his tightly closed eyes suddenly opened. Red light flashed in his eyes, as if it was a bolt of lightning. Su Yi seemed to have thought of something, and his face was filled with joy. The heavens helped the worthy. Su Yi was excited. He closed his eyes again, and a smile hung on his lips. At this moment, Su Yi thought of something. He had always been in the origin spirit realm, but he had never been able to condense Yuan Qi. Su Yi had already met the other requirements for condensing Yuan Qi. However, all this time, Su Yi wanted to condense a decent beast form. In order to condense Yuan Qi into a beast form in the origin spirit realm, one had to have a sufficient understanding of the barbaric beast. More importantly, one needed a drop of blood essence from the barbaric beast. Su Yi didn't lack the blood essence of ordinary barbaric beasts, or even the blood essence of wolf-headed demonic bats. However, Su Yi's vision was no longer the same as before, and he no longer cared about it. Therefore, Su Yi had always been holding back on condensing Yuan Qi, a characteristic of origin spirit realm warriors. Chapter 475. Therefore, Su-yi wanted to use this drop of blood to transform his yuan qi. Su-yi did not know much about this divine bird. He did not even know what kind of divine bird it was. Su-yi planned to start comprehending it now. If he wanted to transform his yuan qi into this divine bird, it would be a great help when he fought with his enemies. Time passed slowly. He did not know where he was in the void. Su-yi, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, had a mysterious power flowing through his body, which was covered in blood and was slowly recovering. His body became more and more crystal clear, with divine light sprinkling down, especially the wound on Su-yi's shoulder. It had completely healed, and there was not even a scar left. Everything was still going on. Su-yi's body had a mysterious flame, which spread from the inside out, revealing a blazing aura. The light became more and more dazzling. Su-yi's body gradually emitted bursts of thunder, and a mysterious power constantly attacked his body. Su-yi's body was motionless. He sat cross-legged like an old monk in meditation. His body was glowing, and the blazing flame merged into his body. A divine light spread out, emitting waves of fluctuations. It was as if a mysterious power had crossed through time and space, descending from ancient times. Walala! In Su-yi's mind, the soul aura fluctuated like ripples, with a domineering and majestic aura, as if it could suppress ancient times and look down on heaven and earth. A drop of blood contained the remnant soul of the divine bird. ETR, the divine bird probably did not expect that Su-yi could use this remnant soul to cultivate the heavenly origin demon soul. At this moment, Su-yi was completely immersed in a strange state. It was as if he was isolated from the outside world. Only the light on his body was dazzling, and the aura on his body was gradually rising. In this strange state, Su-yi's consciousness was not silent. He stood above a blazing sea of fire, and a phoenix-like divine bird flapped its wings for a few days in front of him. Its screech pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks, and the flames surged. Su-yi was in a daze, as if he had been petrified, and fell into some kind of enlightenment. Walala, after an unknown amount of time, the phoenix-like divine bird dissipated in the sea of fire and turned into flames and light that rushed toward Su-yi. Flames and light engulfed Su-yi and turned him into a rain of light. Then, they condensed into the phantom of a divine bird that looked like a phoenix and pierced through Su-yi's body. In Su-yi's petrified eyes, there was only the phoenix-like divine bird rising and falling in the sea of fire, flapping its wings and striking the sky. This sea of flames gradually emitted wind and thunder. It was vast and mighty, and a mist appeared. It contained great profundities and was boundless. In the end, the phoenix-like divine bird's shadow surrounded Su-yi and fluttered its wings. The sea of fire surrounded Su-yi and stirred up huge waves. Everything was extremely shocking. At this moment, it was as if Su-yi could turn into this phoenix-like divine bird at any time. He could flap his wings and strike the sky, setting off stormy waves and burning the sky. However, Su-yi was still in his human form. It was just that the phantom enveloped him, as if it was going to merge with Su-yi and become a Taoist body. At this moment, a terrifying demonic aura spread from Su-yi's body. It was the supreme demonic aura of the demonic clan, and it could suppress billions of people. None of this was seen by anyone. If there were any experts who saw this scene, they would definitely be dumbfounded. In the outside world, Su-yi's body was like the sun, and his aura was terrifying. His body was glowing, and there were many mysteries circulating around him. At the Myriad Sword battlefield, this Myriad Sword conference was the most depressing for all the outer disciples, inner disciples, and direct disciples of the Shinjin Gate. Inside the sword pattern stone. Where did the sword pattern stone go? There should be sword pattern stones in the lair of the demon spirit realm's savage beasts, but why are they all gone? Did someone beat us to it? Master said that there are many medicinal herbs in the Myriad Sword battlefield, and there are even many spiritual herbs. If we can get them, it will be beneficial to our cultivation. But why is there nothing? I heard that senior brother Yin Ling Feng and senior brother Ryugan River went to look for the mystical spiritual fruit, but they didn't even see the mystical spiritual tree. Something's not right. There's so many savage beasts gathered together. There's no way to deal with them. Strictly speaking, the myriad sword battlefield was a little chaotic. Most of the direct disciples were at a loss, and were at a loss. These direct disciples had entered the myriad sword battlefield, thinking that they would be able to show off their skills. Even if they couldn't step onto the Lingjian Peak for the final battle, they would at least be able to obtain some benefits. But when they entered the myriad sword battlefield, they realized that there were no benefits at all. They didn't even see the shadow of medicinal herbs. All the inner and outer disciples were basically crippled. It was a tragic sight. At the peak of the mountain, the afterglow of the setting sun shone. A graceful figure stood under a towering tree. Her black hair was draped over her shoulders, and her orange robe fluttered in the wind. She had an otherworldly temperament, as if she was a fairy. She was a 16 or 17-year-old girl. Her lips were red and tender, and her eyes were as clear as water. They reflected the sunset and sparkled. Her body was slender and graceful under her orange robe. Roar! An 8-winged demonic python was coiled up like a dragon. Its entire body was covered in black light, and it roared like a beast. Its ferocious eyes emitted a faint light. But when it faced the girl, its eyes were filled with fear. You're saying that a few humans took away the mystical spiritual tree and severely injured you? The girl frowned as she stared coldly at the 8-winged demonic python. Her black hair was tied behind her head, and a few strands of long hair fell to the side of her forehead, adding a hint of wildness to her temperament. Roar! The 8-winged demonic python roared as if it was nodding and saying something. Its expression was somewhat aggrieved, and the injury on its back was clearly visible. The 8-winged demonic python did not expect that it would be ravaged by such a young girl while it was hiding to heal its injuries. A few humans, and the leader carried a sword. Suddenly, the girl's eyes lit up, and a breath swept out from her body. She murmured, "I'd like to see where you can run to this time." Xinjian Gate. As the day of the opening of the battlefield of 10,000 swords was approaching, the entire Xinjian Gate was filled with a sense of anticipation. Some elders were still waiting on their own peaks, but the protectors were very busy recently. They had to arrange for the disciples to take care of the matters of the Myriad Sword Conference. On the Lingjian Peak, many disciples were busy. Check carefully. Don't miss anything. A protector ordered the disciples to make arrangements. The real contest of the Myriad Sword Conference was actually at the Lingjian Peak. Only the 68 disciples who had obtained the Sword Pattern Stone could go to the Lingjian Peak for the final showdown. Chapter 476. The exit of the battlefield of 10,000 swords was about to open. At that time, it would be revealed on Lingjian Peak which 16 of the strongest disciples would be able to obtain supreme benefits and a large amount of rewards from the sect. Protector Wang, Protector Zhu, the two of you should have picked up a lot of scraps this time, right? How many disciples have you taken in? Many protectors gathered together, and an old man asked the two protectors, "We've taken in a few who are not bad. There are a few who are not bad, so we've taken them in." The two old men who looked to be in their 50s replied. One of them had a big face, a round waist, and a slightly chubby body. His lower abdomen was slightly bulging, but his eyes were filled with a light that could not be underestimated. The other one was thin and tall, and his eyes were bright. These two protectors were the two protectors who were guarding the portal on the 4th level of the battlefield of 10,000 swords. This time, the heavenly platform had malfunctioned, and so many outer disciples had entered. However, each of them had chosen a dozen disciples who looked good, which could be considered a good harvest. Percent genuine, first distributed, some of the outer disciples are not bad. If they're properly trained, there's hope for them to be extraordinary. An elder said, among the outer disciples, there were some who were not bad. If they were properly selected and trained, there was hope for them to be extraordinary. The heavenly platform was the best inspection. But this time, the heavenly platform malfunctioned, so don't make a mistake, a protector joked. This time, the heavenly platform malfunctioned, and so many outer disciples had entered the battlefield of 10,000 swords. Choosing a flute would depend on one's eyesight. At least we have this bit of eyesight. Protector Wong was slightly chubby. He smiled slightly, but his eyes were filled with confidence. He was still confident in his eyesight. He was confident that the dozen disciples he had chosen, although they could not be compared to the inner disciples and direct disciples, were definitely the best among the outer disciples. I can't make a mistake. Protector Zhu was thin and tall, and he was somewhat confident in his eyesight. Protector Ho, how about you? This time, many disciples have walked out from the 5th level of the heavenly platform. How many have you taken in? A protector spoke and looked at an old man who looked to be in his 50s. The old man was not tall. His face, which was only in his 50s, gave people a feeling that he had been through a lot. He wore the badge of the Shunjian Gate's protector on his body. His eyes shone with a faint light, which made people tremble when they looked at him. This was Protector Ho Changming. His eyes twitched as he looked at the protector who had spoken and said, "One." Hearing this, the group of guardians was surprised. All the protectors knew that the 3 protectors had drawn lots to enter the battlefield of 10,000 swords because of their good luck, which made the other protectors envious. But in the end, Ho Changming's luck was too bad. He actually drew the lot to guard the teleportation gate on the 5th level of the heavenly platform. Generally speaking, it was impossible for disciples to get on the 5th floor of the Tower of Heaven. Even if there was, the elders would have already taken notice of that disciple, and they wouldn't want to become a disciple of a Dhamapala. Therefore, when Ho Changming drew the lot to guard the teleportation gate on the 5th level of the Tower of Heaven, it became a joke among the protectors. But there was a problem with the Tower of Heaven, and so many disciples appeared at the teleportation gate on the 5th level. All the protectors originally thought that Ho Changming's luck was too good. Since he had encountered such a good thing, he would definitely find a chance to pick a few good disciples. But when they saw that Ho Changming had only accepted 1 disciple, the other protectors could not help but be surprised. It's better to have nothing than to have something substandard, Ho Changming said faintly. His expression did not reveal anything. At this very moment, Protector Ho Changming felt very depressed in his heart. He knew very well what kind of disciple he had taken in. Unfortunately, the other 2 who had taken a fancy to him had rejected him without any hesitation and without any leeway for negotiation. He could not tell these guys that he had taken a liking to the 2 disciples, so, in the end, he could only accept a random disciple. It's better to have nothing than to have something substandard. I am sure that the disciple of Ho Changming is comparable to the pro-disciples. After all, he has reached the 5th level of the Tower of Heaven. His talent must be extraordinary. Guardian Wang rolled his eyes at Guardian Ho Changming and said snappily. He clearly remembered that when Ho Changming drew the lot to guard the teleportation gate on the 5th level of the Tower of Heaven, his face suddenly turned black. However, he still pretended to be arrogant and said that it was better to have nothing than to have something substandard. Now, he even said that. Everyone knew that if the Tower of Heaven had not malfunctioned, no disciple would have been able to reach the 5th level of the Tower of Heaven. Yes, I think so too. The disciple of Ho Changming must be comparable to the pro-disciples. Maybe he can even reach the top of the Tower of Heaven. Protector Zhu smiled knowingly. Ha! All the protectors laughed. They knew that Protector Wang and Protector Zhu were making fun of Ho Changming. Wang Tianbao, Zhu Changgao, don't be so happy. Do you think that just because you accepted a few more disciples, they must be extraordinary? Ho Changming was also very helpless. He did not want to go to the teleportation gate on the 5th level of the Tower of Heaven, but his luck was too bad. Although there was a miracle, so many disciples came out, but in the end, he only accepted 1 disciple. He had taken a liking to 2 extraordinary disciples, but he had rejected them without any hesitation. Originally, the disciple called Zhang Qing had an ordinary appearance. Judging from his aura, he was not outstanding either. It seemed that he was not even at the average level of this batch of outer disciples. Ho Changming felt a little regretful in his heart at that time. At that time, he was purely provoked. He wanted to know if he would be rejected by the third outer disciple, who knew that Zhongqing would kneel down and kowtow in an instant. He also spoke at that time. Even if he was secretly dissatisfied, there was no other way. It was not enough to tell others. Well, it seems that Protector Ho has absolute confidence in his disciple. How about this? Let's make a bet. If your new disciple can reach the top of the Tower of Heaven, I am willing to bet 10 mid-level star grade elixirs. If your disciple can't reach the top of the Tower of Heaven, Protector Ho only needs to give me 1 low-level star grade elixir. No, just give me 10 high-level star grade elixirs. I can also give some to my new disciples. Protector Wang Tianbao curled his lips. He could not stand Ho Changming's stubborn look. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.